Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. So here's something weird that happened. So here's something weird that happened. I guess gotta do that. So here's something I guess gotta do that. Stop it! Oh my god, they bury that so that happens. That's so stupid. Okay, well anyway, there is something that happened weird over here on Kick. Like 9, 18, 17. Usually when you click on them, this shows a couple more views here and there, but then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, 558 views on this one. Is it 558? Yep. That's saying that's accurate. That's saying that's accurate. Stop it. So, and then it jumped up from 100 followers to 116. I don't know what happened. That's pretty crazy though. And then the next two, which actually split into two pieces, back to 12 and 10. What was that big hiccup for that one? Now that one says 562. Pretty weird. Oh, and then here's another strange one. Ready? You ready for this? I'll show you. Anybody here? Can anybody see me? Are we talking? Can they hear me? Let's see. Are we live? I think we are. I mean, I was just playing, right? Let's see. Rumble. Yeah, it looks like we are. Connected. Ball buzzers. Wait, hold on. What ball busters are we on? Uh-oh. That one doesn't say profile, so I think we're on the right one, right? Yeah, no, we're on the right one. Interesting. Where the hell is everybody? Maybe I gotta refresh it? Nope. What the heck happened? All right, well, the funny thing I was going to show you is this. There was just someone here and they bounced. That's funny. Content. All right, so you look at these, right? Why? You usually get about 1,800, 1,500, 1,700, right? Okay, so now look at this one from yesterday, before it split. 5,886 views. Well, for what? Like, and then there's still just like 13 likes on it. So was it the picture that everybody clicked on? Is that what that was about? It's pretty weird, right? Like just out of the blue. But wasn't this one like crazy clicked too? If that's the case, why is this one 5,886? Nothing makes sense. Anyway. Oh, how's everybody doing? I bet you maybe that's an effect of freaking notifications actually going out for a change. Who knows? I know there's a lot of dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporters here on Rumble, so maybe they didn't like the content of the of that particular one because we were still talking about the Noah Hyde stuff. The people don't like to be confronted with things that they can't, explain away. It's not fun for them. We have a decent amount of these that we can go over. And we have a multitude of interesting things here. And bald guy who thinks he knows something because he's he's a doctor. Dr. Dipshit. And these things I thought were pretty interesting. So we got 5 hidden signs of a psychopath you must spot fast.
The list of
Nickelodeon's most disturbing creator banned from TV. And then this is about John Kricfalusi. I don't know how they actually pronounce that. But they just call him John K. He's the guy, the creator of Ren and Stimpy. But he's just as creepy as this dude who was he probably ate children too, given what we know about Nickelodeon and the Little Splash looking like Little St. James Island and all. Those little blop, the Rorschach test or blops there, the dot test that they put on Nickelodeon back when it wasn't just a foot. it lined up pretty close with the Little St. James aerial view. Dark reason people with high pattern recognition isolate. I thought that would be interesting for a lot of us to watch if they do a good job and are not just being, AI stereotype dumb shit.
Did you know
there's a lot of stuff going on with YouTube right now that is going to be anti-content creator.
You ever get
These are signs you are a sociopath.
Uber who sell?
Then there's a sociopath here. For reference, King Azule. I don't like the guy who does these. Saint-Saholic is he's mainstream brained, and he criticizes people for the things that aren't something you should criticize because it's like shows his lack of worldliness or his naivete, lack of life experience, or he's trying to cater to an audience of people who don't have that, and it supports a lot of mainstream things, or the criticisms are for all the wrong things, right? And like what they did with Trump. There's plenty of things to criticize about someone, but when you don't need to manufacture things, and you don't need to go off on the deep end and describe some wildly bizarre shit when what they do out in the open, right in your face, is plenty egregious and outrageous enough. You don't need to manufacture things, and that's what happens a lot with this Saint-Saholic guy. So I'm not a huge fan of him. Oh, I thought he had hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and then the way this guy pumps shit out, but I guess not. But yeah, he's been all over the King Azuli shit. There's a bunch of people talking about it, and this Bubba guy isn't much better. But yeah, the whole Gypsy Crusader fight, I don't think the guy's going to show up. I know this is all distraction anyway, and it shouldn't really make a difference, but it is pretty. It's fun to sometimes go down different paths because of different reasons. You don't have to constantly be engrossed in the horrific shit and still be able to tell truth about things.
They smile when you.
It's 5 phrases people use when they secretly hate you. 7 signs someone's about to attack you, backed by real data. I don't think this one's all that great. It's just him staring at the screen. Might just get rid of it. And he basically babbles for the first 10 minutes anyways.
You know what's interesting?
11 signs you have traumatic intelligence. The rarest form of smart. And that one sounded interesting to me. We'll watch it together. Become AI tech pros. Oh, that's funny. Beavis and Butthead become AI tech pros. And then this one, the peptide craze makes me think nobody has self-preservation instincts anymore. I would love to start with this one. The poopy shell. It's like a little kid talking. It's funny. It's pretty.
At this point, ask.
Yeah, it's like a little girl. That was kind of fun. And the bald guy again. Let's see if there's anybody in the chat. Hey, there you are, Karen. What's up? Buy me a coffee link is up there. Walmart coffee is in the cup. And it was a scorching. Well, Rebecca said when she looked, the 2 times that she looked today, it said 117 and 111. That's the temperature of the outdoors, not the oven. And I went for a walk today because I hadn't in a while. And it was, so here's, I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask Dr. Glidden about this. So I'm gonna have to look up some information too, because I felt like the last couple of weeks, or maybe like the last 8 or 9 days when I've been on the elliptical, I feel like I've been sweating more, doing the same amount of work or just as hard, but maybe a little bit longer. But the sweating thing happens like just profusely, I think. And so when I went out today, yeah, granted it's super hot, but I've done that walk a lot. I just haven't done it in a while. And I was soaked. I was soaked and uncomfortable. It was all in my eyes, obviously. because then I took the sunglasses off, so I didn't get like reverse raccoon eyes from the sunglasses because it was bright and sunny. And it was just this. So for a while on the way back, like I did a shorter round. I didn't go the full 3.5 miles because it was just too hot, and I was already feeling kind of woozy. And yeah, I was walking basically all the way on the way back. A lot of times my eyes just closed because the salt was stinging them. I was getting tired of just like rubbing it out, rubbing the salt out of the sweat out of my eyes. So yeah, if you start to sweat more, is that a sign of health? Is that a sign of bad health? Is that, I don't know. I know when you get toxins out, that's a good thing. But if you're like losing water quicker, does that mean you need? I eat plenty of salt, I think. So I don't know what that's all about. Does anybody know anything about that? I'll have to talk to Dr. G. So this is fine. And the androgen clock is an epigenetic predictor of long-term male hormone exposure. That sounds like a bunch of bullshit piled upon other people's bullshit in order to make sense of some formula, and then they make up an anatomical appendage of some sort that doesn't really exist, so they can balance their formula and their math like a receptor. And then this one says DNA methylation clocks in aging, categories, causes, and consequences. And basically what I was saying is DNA methylation, blah, blah, blah. I was like, why do people look like they rapidly age? Was the question presented by somebody. And it was, why do people seem like they rapidly age when they take performance enhancing drugs? And I'm like, well, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense just in the generic basic way, but this may not have anything to do with reality, but it would seem like it would follow that pattern. Like, okay, you can drive your car 10 miles per hour, or you can walk, to someplace, or you can sprint there. You have X amount of energy, but you can either use it over a longer period of time, or you can burn it all out at once. So it's like you have a finite amount of vital force, and you're just burning off your vital force quicker. And the aging process of all that, because it's not just the hair falling out, and it's people look legitimately like they've hyperdrive themselves and they've accelerated everything that's going on. And there's a lot of it probably also has to do with massive nutrient and mineral depletion because of their body overworking and also trying to put out the inflammation of everything that they're doing. Lots of different factors. But what doesn't seem to happen, but it might just be because they don't replenish nutrients, is that when they cool off on all the shit that they're doing to themselves, apart from muscle loss because it wasn't theirs to begin with, it was rented for the time that they were doing steroids, they don't seem to ever regain that youthfulness. And it's not just because of the hair. But yeah, the hair does fall out because they're doing dumb shit. So I'm thinking it's just the same thing. Like, right? You can either slow and steady wins the race and you can live longer, or you can accelerate all of your potential and turn it into kinetic rapidly, but you still only have X amount of time, and you just decided to hit fast forward on yours, right? You fast forwarded on the tape. And that's just my analogy. I'm not saying that has anything to do with what actually happens. And I'm not going to get into the whole telomere thing because I think that's kind of silly too. Give your body what it needs. It fixes itself. People who live in climates that have naturally rich soil with lots of minerals in it they're centarians. Lots of centarians. I think that's how you say it, right? Lots of people that live beyond 100 years old. And antioxidants and lots of minerals, and people live for a long time. What are we doing? All right, let's get into it then. Let's have fun with this one. Then we'll get into the sociopath and psychopath stuff.
Asking a gym bro what peptides do is the equivalent of asking a Redditor what Bitcoin is in 2017. This trend has boys playing chemist unsupervised and acting like they just discovered Compound V. But don't worry, this video will answer any questions you might be too scared to ask at this point. So, what are peptides? Why do you have to stack them? And how did Discord turn into the new Silk Road? Not the website, the literal 2nd century Silk Road. But instead of gems and tea, Chinese men are selling teenagers Retta and Melanotan. Let's get into it. Peptides are short chains of amino acids that essentially tell your cells what to do. You have thousands of peptides in you right now. TikTok.
Way more than that. And just to remind everybody, Gila monster venom synthesized. So what do? They can't patent something that's from nature, and they obviously probably don't want to milk a bunch of saliva from let's squeeze the lizard. We need another one. Yeah. So they isolate because fuck nature, right? So anytime they do that, I'm not just saying like this, but when they do a tincture, when you're stripping out what you think in your divine wisdom, because this is the antithesis of whole food, right? The antithesis of whole food approach to nutrition is that maybe nature designed it in a molecular structure with other things on purpose, and maybe just because you assume that this thing is the active ingredient, that all of it working together is what keeps it balanced and recognizable to your body. Like when they say, oh, this is ascorbic acid, vitamin C. Well, I've heard people associate citric acid and ascorbic acid for vitamin C. And if you're having like a whole food, wouldn't both be in there because it comes from lemons, limes, and oranges and stuff like that? And the ascorbic acid would be there. But if you make it in a lab and you're using possibly glyphosate and GMO'd cornstarch and hydrochloric acid, are you still going to call that, because whatever comes out you claim is ascorbic acid, bitter crystals, are you going to call that vitamin C? How does that relate to the orange? And there's also a copper bond in whole food or vitamin C. When you take the pharmaceutical one, it strips copper from your body because it has an affinity for it, because it was taken away from it when or maybe not even there at all, because it was a synthesized vitamin. It's basically a pharmaceutical product called a vitamin that you buy at a store. That's why it's like really important to get the whole food multivitamins right here. But that's just one example. So now they take these peptides, and the only thing that you can be, this is the part I was going to say, just to remind you, going back to that part with that statement, just to remind you, everybody, the only thing you can be allergic to is a protein. So people, and people aren't allergic to gluten. They're not. But if it can't be broken down, and it's like Dr. Glidden said, it's like a string of pearls, because the amino acids, the bonds between them, our stomach acids, for whatever reason, just have a really hard time trying to break it down, probably because they've gone through changes too, and they're not the natural whatever wheat from what people used to eat hundreds and hundreds of years ago versus now. So it doesn't work well in our body. Plus, again, grains are for livestock. That's if you think of it in that way, you won't go wrong. If you treat it that way, you won't go wrong. Same thing with corn, though. Add corn to that list. Take it very small, and don't make it a huge part of your life. Don't go munching on a bag of corn chips every day or whatever. But that does something else to your body. It can't be broken down, so when it hits the small intestine, it beats up your small intestine and tears apart and beats up your microvilli, and then you can also, from that continuous eating of that, get leaky gut syndrome, because you're tearing, and then food that's not supposed to be entering the bloodstream does, and things that are, again, going back to the vitamin C type of scenario, that particular type of irritation going past the intestine because of a leaky gut prior to it being ready to be released into the bloodstream through absorption. If it sneaks out, it's going to cause you all kinds of abdominal pain and stuff like that, and it's not good for you. But that's from continuously eating the 12 bad foods. But again, going back to the peptides that they isolate. So now this is a freaking saliva. Their saliva, not intended for you to be injecting into yourself. But hey, right? Why not? So they'll take this particular, and they're all coming from the same animal. Like if you get terzipatide, retatrutide, there's 3 of them combined together. And then there's the Ozempic one is, I forgot what the actual name of the I don't remember. But there's 3 separate ones that come straight from the Gila monster. And it just seems like, oh, that's a wonderful thing to convince people to do themselves. Paralyze your stomach, muscle wasting, because you can't absorb any nutrients, and you're daily injecting yourself with something that you would never have enter your body otherwise. That should work out just fine. The mentality of people to think that they're just and this is from people who think that they're cheat coding the system, right? They're the bright ones, aren't they? They'll teach God.
Makes it sound like peptides literally just appeared out of nowhere and were designed with the sole purpose of making you more fuckable. But the first ever teenager to hop on peptides was 14-year-old Leonard Thompson. He wasn't like the OG clavicular or anything. He was just a kid, suffering from type 1 diabetes in the 1920s. To give you some backstory, peak 19th century medicine was treating animals like Jenga. Like, okay, I'm going to remove a third of this dog's brain, let's see if it dies. Oh cool, it's still alive. Let's try this on women that want to vote next. 2 German researchers in 1889, following this scientific method, removed the pancreas of a dog, and it died. But before dying, it displayed symptoms of diabetes, so they concluded that the illness was somehow related to this particular organ. In 1910, Sir Edward Albert Sharpe-Schaffer, a British physiologist with literally 4 names, theorized that patients with diabetes only had a single chemical missing in their pancreas. He named that chemical after the pancreatic islets, which are clusters of hormone-producing cells found in the pancreas. Insulin, as in the Latin word insula, meaning island. This was the first. So
the insulin means island. That's the one thing I learned from this video from watching it earlier. Look at that needle. That looks a little more modern. Unless that's glass. It's possibly glass.
Therapeutic peptide discovered just 10 years after the conceptualization of peptides. As I said, Leonard Thompson was the first patient to receive it, and it saved his life. Well, for a while. He died of pneumonia at the age of 26. Because believe it or not, insulin was discovered before penicillin. Now, insulin is a hormone peptide that regulates glucose. If you have an insulin deficiency, your body can't move sugar from your blood into your cells, and your cells will starve. ADH is a peptide that regulates water retention. Having a deficiency will lead to excessive thirst, frequent urination, and dehydration. ACTH is a peptide that stimulates cortisol production. A deficiency can cause severe fatigue, weight loss, and poor stress tolerance. EPO stimulates red blood cells.
Right, you see, that was a positive for cortisol. Okay, people completely misunderstand the concept of, oh, you're spiking my cortisol. It's just a stupid thing that Gen Z and alphas say. I just wish people would pay more attention to the fact that the majority of, if something's popular and you know that the majority of people aren't that bright, why would you want to talk like them? If you say something like that and it's inaccurate, like the assumption being that that's somehow like a bad thing, that your body hates you and is trying to create cortisol, that's another thing that does get amplified. Like, too much of everything's bad, but it does regulate certain things in your body. There's a purpose for it. But when they hyper accelerate it because you're putting your body through a shit ton of stress when you're doing all these other hormones and injecting all these hormones, then yeah, your body definitely most certainly does age. Cortisol is part of that too, right? So I guess I was leading up to that without even realizing it. But we'll continue here.
production. A deficiency can cause fatigue, poor exercise tolerance, and general gouthness. And gonadotropin
Gouthness.
regulates the production of sex hormones. A
Gonadotropin.
deficiency will cause you to make a Reddit account. Further
The
advancing-
deficiency will lead you to make a Reddit account when you don't have anything to when you're low T. He's got a funny head.
Charles Best had managed to isolate insulin from the pancreases of dogs and inject
Poor
it
guy.
into a human. For
That
about
dog is
60 years,
that's an abused dog. That's a lab rat. That poor guy.
insulin was mainly extracted from farm animals, but
Hello.
some people had allergic reactions to animal insulin. The first
Yeah. Animal blood. They were doing all this. We were reading this in the Béchamp or Pasteur, which, by the way, we should go back to, huh? We'll do that tomorrow, maybe. I got Dr. Glidden tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, Tuesday? Then I don't have Dr. Glidden tomorrow, which means I have to follow up on a couple things, and then we'll maybe back into the book.
biosynthetic insulin was made by cutting out insulin from humans, putting it inside E. coli, farming the E. coli,
Put it into E. coli. E. coli.
are able to produce it, and extracting the insulin from them. This was first done in 1978.
Remember when they were doing this with the E. coli and the venom peptides? Do you remember way back when we were talking to Dr. Artis still? There was all these companies that were very symbolically named. There was there were some of them called it wasn't Gilead. Gilead's funny though because of the Dark Tower series and Roland. And also we already know the whole other Gilead thing, but that's just funny. We had the spin-off company of one of the vaccine companies, but it was the Ophirix, which is like Snake King or King Snake. And they were making that. Oh, what the hell was the name of the fucking thing? Here, let's look at it. It's like it's hard to. It almost sounds like vampire, but it's a weird name. Let's go to Ophirix, which, by the way, is backed by the Wellcome Trust and the World Health Organization, and all they're doing is making an anti-venom. I said Ophirix. Snake bite burden. 4.5. This the fake thing that like this is the epidemic that we need to. No, it's because they're poisoning people and they're basically letting you. This is how they let you know without telling you that there's a component in the vaccines that is snake venom or in the water or something that they use to make people ill. Or maybe just the frequency. Here's the funny thing. I got a curious question for Dr. Monzo. If you knew and you could like isolate the footprint, the frequency signature of nutrients, could you laser them? Could you beam them into the body? Would they have to be taken? Like ingested, or could they go through the signal? Because if it's just a signal from the thing, then the material part doesn't matter. And I think that's kind of what the law of potentization in homeopathy kind of proves, is that it's just the data, it's the software, it's the everything's sound, right? Everything's vibration and everything. And again, nothing's on a two-dimensional model. Everything goes out like a ball, right? Outward from the middle. So there's got to be something there where you could utilize positive things to beam into the body, utilizing a laser to carry that energy or whatever, however you would do it. And you could specify or designate, utilize specific things that you would want. And then that would lead to the question is, it would be like, okay, so what frequencies are they zapping us with that we don't consciously see? We don't see, we can't really feel it. And how's that working on our thought process, our hormones? Are they suppressing our hormones? Are they, because they could be sending signals that do that. They might not even be doing it deliberately, but it might obviously work in their benefit for that to happen. something making people docile and non-combative, right? I mean, we can consider that, and then how many of these stupid fucking quote-unquote 5G, 6G, whatever towers and panels are everywhere. The little boxes, so do we know? Do we know where, like, the radio waves and everything like that? How are they? Could they possibly be designed with multi-use, multi-purpose? And if they don't really seem to be stopped by Earth or anything like that, people can still hear the weird ringing in their ears and things like that. People that are hypersensitive to it, even when they're way, way down in the caves and stuff like that. They did that. We did that. We actually watched that clip of that guy. He's like, no, I still hear it. So you need like lead shielding and stuff like that in order to not hear it. So it just makes you wonder if you could carry information into a person or a nutrient and nutrify them to where the body knows the signal. You don't need the actual physical thing. The physical thing simply is doing the same thing in the body, right? The concentration of the material, the actual substance, is in and of itself emitting a frequency. The chemical signal, sure, but then also the actual emission that people don't think about because everything's electrical. Now that is, again, it both sound very good, but you got to think of it in the nefarious way. They would be never telling us that that's a thing, and most certainly utilizing their own to make us ill and on command. You know, they fire them up, turn them up. They can tweak and dial to cause whatever the hell they are calling flu-like symptoms these days and make it hard for people to breathe. And then they go to the doctor and get the real poison. Let's see where the Verispledib. That's it. Aw. Dogs are bitten by venomous snakes each year in the United States. 50,000 of them. Well, yeah, you definitely need the Welcome Trust in the World Health Organization on that then. So they're going to beat on... They act like they're doing something good for the animals. Nope. They're just guinea pigs. Yeah, this dude is from that other company. I can't remember the name of the company. Monsanto. No, God damn it. Moderna. Yeah, he was from Moderna. Fulvic was founded by Matthew R. Lewin, MD, PhD, and emergency physician experience, blah, 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 in collaboration with Jerry Harrison, a musician, producer, investor, and they're not even talking about the other guy. So, where is it? I'm trying to find where the Welcome Trust stuff is. They move stuff around a lot since the last time I looked on here. The snake bite burden. We already talked about, saw that one. The science. Oh boy. Collaborators, news about the science. Is that the bottom of the contacts page? They took it off. That's too bad. But yeah, that's a thing. And there's a couple other companies that were selling these research snake venom peptides with very, very, very deadly. Anybody can buy them. Aloha Snack Bar says Edward Snowman. Maybe they don't want their cortisol spiked because they want to build lean muscle mass. Yeah, which is funny because if you're injecting something in your body, it's causing a stress, which would do the opposite. I mean, it's gonna have that effect regardless. It's gonna cause a surge. And Ali is telling me that they've come back home now.
You might recognize the process used as gene splicing, which was invented just a few years earlier. But most of your favorite TikTok shop peptides are synthetic. They mimic the functions of natural ones.
They have to be synthetic. That way they can patent them. That way they can sell them. Otherwise, and so they're gonna alter even what's in nature. It's not just the simple fact that they're isolating them that makes them unnatural. They're also adding typically hydrogen, just like hydrogenated oils that's in your peanut butter if you eat the crap peanut butter. So yeah, they have to make it different, synthesized in a lab in order to be able to patent it. So you're not even getting anything that nature ever intended. It wasn't going to happen anyway, with law of averages being what they are. But now it's even worse because it's not even something that would be found in nature, and they're going to have you inject it or swallow it. That sounds wonderful. Great job, MDs. You definitely don't have a priority issue when it comes to your practice.
Often they're modified to be more potent, or like GLP-1 drugs, made to have the effect of the peptide last much longer. For example, melanotan or the Barbie peptide, and
yeah, semaglutide I think is what Ozempic is.
Oh, can you believe the new age tech bro equivalent of masculinity is taking a possibly cancerous amount of something called a Barbie peptide? Red-pilled free thinkers shooting up on Barbie juice really makes me want to go back to a previous save. Melanotan is the synthetic version of the alpha-melanocyte stimulating hormone. Both do the same thing, but the synthetic stuff degrades over a longer period of time and also makes your dick hard. Then there's BPC-157, which is derived from the protective proteins and peptides found inside your stomach. The natural equivalent in your body helps your stomach not dissolve itself, and similarly, the lab-made version accelerates tissue repair and reduces inflammation. But so far, all of them seem to reduce inflammation. Why is everyone so inflamed? What are you guys eating? Is it seed oils? I bet it's seed oils. And here's something interesting. If a peptide is produced by your body, it cannot be patented, because that would be like patenting spit. So BPC-157 is not patented. Modified versions that increase potency are. Alpha MSH cannot be patented, but melanotan was patented in the 80s because it isn't a one-to-one copy. Now, how are they made? Jesse, we need to cook peptides. We need to cook peptides.
Oh, that's funny. He looks like yeah. Oi. Looks like an oi.
Jesse. Yo, Mr. White. Peptides are gay, yo. Do you want to be a low-tier normie your whole life? Check this, Jesse. Why is it blue? It's copper peptides, Jesse. It's like injectable skincare, you idiot. Damn. This shit Kafka-esque, yo.
What?
Here's how you make peptides at home. If your home is a sterile lab environment. It's kind of like making a bracelet, but instead of different gems, you have 20 amino acids,
right,
which
breaking apart the amino acids.
You place in a strict order on a tiny polymer bead called a resin. And instead of chains or links, there are peptide bonds. The tricky part is that amino acids are chemically reactive in multiple places, so you have to make sure you can connect only the correct side of a gem by blocking the other sides. Wash away unwanted bits after every new gem, repeat over and over, and when the chain is complete, dissolve the resin. Now you have a lab-made peptide. Time to sell it to teenagers on Discord. This is oversimplifying it, like a lot. It's actually a very difficult process, and even one mistake ruins the whole thing. But now that you know how they're made, let's talk about the dangers of peptides. It's interesting that a lot of the people that have taken an interest in peptides don't even trust fucking nut milk, but trust something that enthusiasts.
Why would you trust that almond milk? Almond milk is terrible for you. Almond is for men, and walnuts are terrible for you.
Yes, referred to by the acronym only. Still, in my opinion, the big problem with peptides you buy online is not what they are or what they do.
The fact that you inject anything like that's a synthetic in your body, thinking, oh, what could go wrong, is retarded. I don't care if BCP-157 has short-term positive, what you would consider positive effects in your body. what do you think is going to happen over the course of years? Like, there's things that happen from taking supplements that don't manifest for months later, and then people don't even associate that with being because of what they did. People can't even associate the fact that they got injected with something because their doctor told them it's that time of year again. You got to get your blah 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 shots, or it's been about 4 years since you had your tetanus. Blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden, a few months down the road, they're violently ill, and they don't even associate it with, oh, it's flu season and I got a flu shot or whatever the shot was. No, they think, oh, the TV told me that there's an invisible unicorn biting everybody and it's an epidemic. It's a pandemic. It's a pretendemic. We better go get our more shots. Yeah. Yeah, great thing.
It's not the lack of evidence or conflicting results, it's that they're unregulated. In 2023, the FDA moved several very popular peptides from Category 1 substances to Category 2. That means the only way you can get those peptides today is through the, for research use only loophole.
Like Reddit 2 tried.
I love how websites say, not intended for human consumption.
Yeah, and in Reddit, half the people had to drop out of the clinical trials because they were not feeling good. And not to mention the fact that the whole base concept of, oh, I know what we can do. We can use the ancient serpent cult medicine in order to make ourselves not eat food. Instead of just, I don't know, getting your vital nutrients so you don't have these uncontrollable cravings of your body screaming at you to give it what it needs so it can function. But what we'll do instead, because fuck willpower, we'll paralyze our stomach, our vagus nerve, and through the process of mineral and nutrient depletion, because nothing's moving in our stomach because it's paralyzed, our retina will detach from the back of our eyeballs, and that'll be fun because we'll go blind. Oh, and by the way, now we're insulin dependent too. So we have type 1 diabetes. Good times. And muscle wasting. Yeah, kind of a big deal when you cut off all of the nutrients to your system. It's only a matter of time. You're literally starving. You could have food in your gut and still be starving because it's not going anywhere. It's like a walking starvation. What a wonderful thing that the OAVs do, right? It's almost like it's elective. Being the merchants that they are now selling people. They came up with this great idea. Instead of creating a Holodomor by gun, let's create one that we can sell. And then, people for vanity purposes will line up. We'll get some of our cult members from the mid-tier echelon, whatever. We'll get the Prince of Darkness himself, his wife and daughter. They'll get on Ozempic, and they'll have the beautiful Crypt Keeper Ozempic faces, Kelly Osbourne and Sharon, and those will be like highlighted, and nobody will ever think anything of it. It'll just be the new Hollywood craze. Everybody will use them. Oh, these are, and then you have people like Coach Greg. These are designed for people who are morbidly obese. Is that what they're for? Or is it you need to fix that other thing? That whole nutrient thing. Because they're not getting the right amount of nutrients. So they're not going to... shutting down their system so that they walk around basically fasting is not the answer. Because now you're looking at somebody who's really overweight, who's going to be losing a rapid amount of weight and muscle because it's happening rapidly. And they have no protocol and no nutrients in their body and no way to make them move around in order to address all of the toxins that are going to be dumped into their system because of the fat loss. The tissues are going to be releasing all of that stored toxins that from their shit diet back into their system, and there's no other way to clean it out. Wonderful ideas these people have.
But the product is called Glow Stack, Big Muscle Bundle, or Escape the Matrix Brain Enhancer. Yeah, humans are using the fuck out of those. Ironically, by labeling peptides as posing significant safety risks, the FDA has made...
If you want to escape the Matrix and you want to make something at home, I highly recommend just grabbing some spores They can also come in a syringe, but you don't inject yourself with them unless you're mental. You get some rye beans and you boil them with some calcium carbonate till they're ready to go, right? And then you take a jar that's already been, you put it like a pressure cooker and sterilize it. You put the beans in it, you sterilize it again, and then you drill a little. You could drill little holes on top and the cap. Like these are like Ball Company jars, right? And then you can take the silicone stuff, the little silicone squeezy thing, and you can put silicone in the little tiny holes that you drilled, and then you'll have like a puncture point for the syringe to go in, and then you can inject the spores a little bit in each of the jars that you have, and let them sit. When they start to get a little bit white, then you know the mycelium is growing a bit. You have your also pressure cooked and sterilized bedding of soil, some, what do they call that stuff? I forgot that other stuff. The white stuff, the other stuff that makes it kind of like more. I forgot the name of it. It's not. There is peat moss in it, but there's something else. Ah, shit. I got it in my garage, in my shed, I think. But anyway, you put that all together, and that's its bedding. And then you get a humidifier. Make it into some sort of like dome thing. I used to. I was told that people use that bins. You get right at Walmart, and you put the like little trays of the dirt they have in there, and you spread out the beans, the rye beans with the mycelium started on there, and then it'll grow up really nice and white if you have the humidifier around there and you got the right temperature in the garage or wherever else you're gonna do it. And if you have lengths of hose from like a pool vacuum and a lot of duct tape, you can get like a $30 humidifier. Grab some distilled water, fill that up, and then cut a hole into that thing. Cut a few, holes, drill them, and then put electrical bandages, the stuff that breathes, over the hole, so you're filtering the air that's going in and out, and constant humidity in those rooms, in those places, while you have the little trays in there. And give it some time, and you're gonna get something that comes out of that dirt. And there, you can escape the matrix from, because will have created it yourself, and you'll have them fresh. Usually, if you could get them from somebody else, they'd be dried, and then you can dry whatever ones you want. If you have a dehydrator, or you want to leave them out in the sun, I guess you could do that. There's a Lego my ego though on that. I wouldn't leave them out in the sun unprotected. I guess you could do the traditional way, like they used to do with the Amanita, and hang them in a pine tree to dry them. But yeah, that's a fun household project you could do. There's a place here. I'll show you. It's really clever name too. Ready? No. Oh, really? Maybe it's just with one N? And one N, maybe it's that? Nope. Hold on, let me see if it's still in my where they find the bookmarks? Where do you get bookmarks? How do you find bookmarks? Does anybody know? All bookmarks. Where do you do your search for it? All right, so I'm not good at this because I don't know how to do this, but there should be bookmark, a thing where all your bookmarks are, because you have different categories, right? What the hell was who the hell was looking that up? When? Who the hell was looking this up? That's weird. Maybe that was us. Kombucha. I made that too. Oh yeah, this is all old stuff. Houston Hot Sauce Festival. Spores, mushrooms, grow kits, mushrooms. Here, we're getting closer. Hold on. We'll find it. My grandfather's obituary. Well, one of my other grandfathers. My dad's dad. Vaccine laws. P90X abs. Gotta get some abs. Base tab. Service dog. Yeah, I think we're going too far. There's a Cabela's thing. That's my commercial food dehydrator. That kind of goes along with the story we were just discussing. Is it Mushbox? I don't think so. I think it was just mushroom.com. That would suck if he's not around anymore, because that was just in a different part of Arizona. You just have to have like a check or something, or a cashier's check or something like that to purchase it, because obviously there's nobody's gonna support that with a payment processor. All right, let's take a look at this one. I don't think this is it though. Come on, bruh. 404, dude, everything's dead. Well, it's not the internet I used to know. Now you're just some internet that I used to know. Some internet. Didn't have to make mushrooms. Well, it's a good thing I still have some spores around. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. It's really not hard to find information about it, these things, though. Yeah, if you do a little bit of research to figure out how to do it, make your soil compound. Why can't I think of the stuff that makes things lighter in a soil? Some weird stuff. You mix it all up in a thing and then you scoop it into this. Yeah, it's not that hard to do. It's kind of fun. Everything has to be like they make it out to be like you have to like pressure cook everything to sterilize it. I'm not sure how important that is, but I did. So this is a long time ago. Yeah, this is just a bunch of shit. I don't know what it was. I thought mushrooms.com was it. Oh well. I guess it's all gone, baby, gone now. There's ways to get them though. I'm sure. If they want to look like a victim, helpless, abandoned, and on the verge of death, the GLPs are effective. Vermiculite. Thank you for the shroom cakes. Yes. Vermiculite. That is in. Yeah, I might not know if I still have any of that, but I did use that before. I did use that for planting too. Easier for plants to sprout out when it's not packed down soil. Was it this one? Yep. Only me can make a. How long have we been on here? 53 minutes for a 13-minute video halfway through.
100 times more dangerous because people joining this frankly overhyped trend right now only have access to unregulated, unproven, and non-pharmaceutical grade chemicals off of the.
I hate that bullshit. Okay, as if the sorcerers, if the pharmakia lab cult, if they make it and they self-congratulate themselves by FDA approving it, then it's somehow magically good for you, just like everything else that's never killed you that the pharmaceutical company pumps out on a daily basis to people, right? Like statin drugs, like Vioxx, like any number of vaccines that murder people, chemo and radiation, all this stuff is FDA approved. It doesn't make it this false sense of safety because it comes from the demon cult is ridiculous. No, all bad ideas, all of ignoring the vital force, nature, and God, and rejecting all that and saying, I want more, I'm smarter than my own body, I'm going to tell it what to do, and we'll see how that goes. Instead of just, hey, you know what? Your body wants to work at a higher level, perform at a higher level. You know how you stop? You need BCP 157 in order to stop inflammation? You know how else you could do that? Not eating like an asshole. That'll help, right? Not taking their pharmaceuticals. Eating plenty of cholesterol. Right, all the things they tell you not to do. Having salt. Having mineralized salt even. That way you get some of your minerals. I've got a little blood blister on the front of my. Hold on, that happened. Interesting, very interesting.
Hackers HQ Discord server instead of a compounding pharmacy. This shit ain't even got a child safety lid. You might think you're getting something from a legit lab's website, but it's actually some dude bulk buying absolute garbage from Alibaba.
Well, you don't know what it is, but people still inject it in themselves. But you don't know what it is anyway. You don't know. The thing is, the underlying thing that doesn't change regardless of who you get it from is that the people who are doing it and electing to do it to themselves and pin themselves don't know what the hell they're messing with, don't know what they're doing, and they think of their body the same way MDs have conditioned them to think. That isolated things do you have different parts of your body and something that you put in it. This is the same concept of prescriptions. This drug will do this. Really? It'll just do that? Side effects may include. What do you mean by that? What does that actually mean? It means your body holistically is affected by everything. So, oh no, I was targeting kidney support and I killed my liver. This is the type of mentality. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this and it's going to make this happen. Well, what other chain of reaction of events, because everything's connected, did you have to manipulate and fuck up and throw off balance and signal? Because your body itself wasn't sending that signal. So when that signal just all of a sudden was injected into the bloodstream and has arrived, your body has to readjust and respond and react and panic react to this sudden change because it doesn't know how that signal got in there. It's a chemical signal, but to think about it, this is what it's doing. It's signaling something to happen in your body. And if it's not sending it, it's going to treat it as either foreign, and that's why you're bypassing swallowing it in the first place, because your liver would have taken care of that thing and made it so that it wasn't going to be as detrimental to your body. Oh, but it makes positive things happen. What else does it do? Because it's not doing positive things if your body's reacting to it in a whiplash, violent type of way. That's the whole reason why the Frula Max thing is a stupid idea. Because it's a SERM. And it does have estrogenic effects, but it's also just something that also binds and like boa constricts and like crazy glues itself to the receptors, your estrogen receptors. So that type of stimulus in that type of area, if you want to call them receptors, whatever the fuck the mechanism is there, the fact that something is drawn to it and aggressively binding to it or whatnot and saturating it is enough of a signal for the body to think that that is estrogen. And that's why it's trying to balance by dumping as much testosterone as it can. And then getting exhausted. And people are like, oh, well, yeah, in that period of time, I'll be lifting weights and I'll be getting more muscle because my testosterone will be raised. Is that what you think is going to happen? Where do you think all the nutrients that your body needs in order to build and repair muscle, where do you think it's going to go? In the thing that you're doing, or the fact that you just chemically hijacked your body? It's in panic mode. Any raw materials that you have that would otherwise be able to be used, any energy, any ATP energy that you would have already generated to be able to be used for your exercise, for your muscle building, for your all that stuff to be it's all going to go to addressing all the shit that you just did to it, the inflammation, the damage to the liver, all the stuff. So you're rewriting all that stuff someplace else. Plus, with that particular SERM, it's a very short-lived process before it goes the opposite direction while you're still taking it and when you stop. When you stop, it also has a below baseline crash effect. You go right, you climb to the top of the mountain and you jumped off of it. And instead of just hitting the ground, there was like an old well there or something. And you busted through the old boards that they had in the well because you're falling so fast and you broke into the well and it's another fucking 500 feet down to the ground. And then there's no water in there.
Videos flexing all the money they made selling peptides. Fuck you. And say you get a bad batch. It can either do nothing or be toxic and have your body attack its own proteins. Not to mention, a contaminated dose can easily give you an infection, so you might get shredded, you might get sepsis. Either way, the cut is gonna be crazy. It's a big gamble. And since we've all become real desensitized to gambling, who says Wuhan Wansheng Biotechnology isn't selling a legit ARA 290 for $2 a pop over Telegram? Now, finally, let's talk about what happens when you take peptides. Here's some good news that nobody wants to hear. Unless you actually have medical issues, you're producing all the peptides you need. Homegrown. But since peptides are a good thing, why not have more? Get ahead of everyone by having even more of the good thing. Some people have not seen Cyberpunk Edge Runners and it shows. All the dudes that make it sound like you take a few jabs and instantly you look like Patrick Bateman, and chicks that say take peptides you can look moist and sticky all the time. Who doesn't want that?
Moist and sticky.
That whole crowd is really overselling it to people who actually have no issues. If your body has enough of a hormone or signaling peptide, two things can happen if you take more of it. 1. Nothing. The peptides will just get broken down without giving you any benefits. Or 2. A temporary boost, and then nothing. You take the Barbie peptide and you get that nice provincial wood finish. Your body adjusts and you need a higher dose. You can take the higher dose, but then receptors become overstimulated and less responsive. Once that happens, you're not even producing enough of the natural equivalent on your own.
You turn into a shrimp. Shrinky dink.
Vitamins. Vitamins are good, but your body only needs a certain amount. You take too much vitamin C, you piss it out. Does nothing.
Yeah, but that's not because they're also talking about synthetic. You need much less of a natural whole food vitamin C to do the thing. If you look at the energy scans that Dr. Monzo has shown of synthetic versus whole food, they carry a different energy to them, and it's a much more vibrant, much more illuminated when it's whole food. And the whole idea that what they're saying there is kind of ridiculous, because it's a deterrent for people that don't do enough of this natural supplementation in the first place. So it's kind of silly to say, well, if you have too much, you'll just pee it out. Well, that's good. If your body's smart enough to just let it go like that, and that means you can't hurt yourself with it. And it's like nearly impossible to take too much calcium because there's such a demand of calcium in your body on a daily basis. You can't take too much calcium. You can't really have too much cholesterol. What you can do, though, however, is get it the wrong way by eating fried foods and having shit tons of free radicals in that and acrylamide, and then that causes massive inflammation and the tearing. So you have to have Band-Aids to stop the oxidative stress from causing you to bleed to death in your arteries. So that's where the plaque buildup, which is also made out of cholesterol, comes from. But people say, oh, it's because you ate too much, too many eggs and blah, blah, blah. You want to know what I had today? I noticed in the refrigerator that there was a little Tupperware container, and I guess Rebecca had made some sort of like whipped foamy thing, and she only needed egg whites for it. So there was like 6, it could have been 8, just yolk, just a little bit. Obviously, there's a little bit of the other stuff in there. And I texted her, I'm like, can I have these? She's like, yeah. So I cracked 4 more like full eggs in there, and I had all those other yolks. I don't give a fuck. I know that it's not going to hurt me. And I know that it's only beneficial. Hey, if you want hormones in the brain and myelin sheathing on your nerves, and every single one of your cell membranes is also all made out of cholesterol. So what do you think your needs for cholesterol happens to be? Probably pretty high, right? And then the minerals, bioavailable minerals that you can actually take in, like calcium, you're not going to be able to find really bioavailable unless you're getting the non-osteo effects of the IP6 Supreme and the inositol. You're going to not have to worry about overtaking anything anyway. And the shit that you're taking from stores, where every single one of those vitamins is made in a lab and not from a whole food source, those aren't good for you anyway. Shouldn't take those, the B vitamins, any of that crap. Shouldn't be taking those ones. They're going to pull from you. They're going to leach shit from you as they pass through your body, because they're not natural and they're not complete whenever something is isolated, like like extracted or whatever, typically, not all the time, but if it had an affinity for something and it was stripped away from it, and it just naturally is bound to something else, well, then it's going to be looking for that in you. Anything, those little feelers are out there. So, like with the case with the vitamin C, if it has an affinity for copper and it comes across copper in your body, and copper is like one of the hardest things for you to maintain in your body because sugar rips it out, all kinds of stuff does, then it's going to take it from your mitochondria or wherever else your copper happens to be, and your myelin, the elasticity of your stomach lining and your arteries and all that will suffer, but also so will your ATP energy, and it could also damage your mitochondria. And then you have an imbalance with that in your iron, and you're going to get fatigue and sore joints. So, was it worth it? No, just get whole food multivitamins, yes, but get whole food vitamin C, so that doesn't happen because it already has the copper bond. So it's not going to go with its little, Mr. Crab claws and try to pinch the pennies as it comes through your body.
But take too much vitamin D and it won't make your bones stronger. It will give you kidney stones. Now,
no, vitamin D will give you what the fuck are you talking about? If you don't have enough magnesium, your calcium gets dumped into your body, and it's also a lack of calcium, too little calcium. This is stupid. Too little calcium. There's the imbalance of magnesium, which then will also collect in the arteries, and you'll have calcified blockages in your arteries as well. But all that is usually representative of not having enough calcium, so your body pulls it from your bones to put back in your bloodstream, so they don't have a heart attack, because you need calcium in your circulation too. So if it's pulling in there, and it's because it's not getting what it needs. But osteoclasts and osteoblasts work constantly in your body. The clasts eat the old bone. The blasts are like the guy with the power paint sprayer, right? Putting up the new stuff, as long as it has the material to do so.
if you're suffering from obesity, hormonal imbalance, if you have fertility issues, or are genuinely training very hard and putting stress on your body, peptides are something that has been proven to help. And JHRPs won't awaken your Sharingan or anything, but you will bulk up. You will get nice fruits. But will they be fruits of your labor? And would they be as sweet if they're not? Is there no joy left in the process of self-improvement? I get it. Peptides are mostly a trend built on FOMO. If they were legal and if there was more information, I don't think as much people would care. At least I think the interest is encouraging more research in a field where, due to patent law, there isn't much money to be made. But it's far more likely that the next step is Discord servers dedicated to selling those peptides that you need to heat up in a spoon before injecting. Okay, so we talked about the dangers a little bit, we talked about results a little bit. Now, I don't want to sound like the small font on the bottom of a peptide reseller's crusty webpage, but there are many side effects. Nausea, dizziness, death, and women still not liking you. Especially with very intense formulations like Reda. But I am going to say that a lot of those side effects will come from the fact that nobody can give you a clear answer when it comes to dosing. Itoshi is not a compound chemist. He is 18 years old, and you're gonna inject your body with so much Reda, your guts are gonna turn into a washing machine during the last spin cycle. At least it's good to see that Lux Maxers want to get their misinformation from their colleagues and not chat glorified fucking autocomplete. And let's address the elephant in the room. Pretty cool, right? Don't know how it got in. All the rich and famous people that are endorsing peptides and actually get good results because they get routine labs done. I'm sorry, but this too is pay to win. Peptide levels can change rapidly, but it's even harder to test receptor sensitivity.
But look at... She paid no attention to the fact that that's what's promoting these types of things, is that they're having celebrities train the seals, train the monkeys, right? Monkey see, monkey do. It's just almost as ritualistic as the fake injections of the COVID shot. Oh, look, that famous person got it. I'm going to do that too. For the numbskulls out there. But yeah, of course they're going to promote it. Everybody's promoting it. There's money to be made in these research chemicals labs. And Algo Rex from freaking Greg Doucette is no better. Oh, well, they go from compounding pharmacies and doctors prescribed. And I hate when he says that. It's like, oh, because they know so much. Because the fact that they're even considering giving you a peptide rather than you understanding how to manage your own body naturally. Like these people who inject steroids in their lifetime, they have no respect for their own bodies. They don't. It seems like a counterintuitive thing. You think they would care a lot about it. They don't seem to understand it enough to care about it because they think that they can trust the science and trust their doctors. Like, how the hell has that been working out for you lately? Seriously, man. Oh, but they know so much in this area, but they can't figure out how to fix simple things. And when you go to them for an illness, they just give you a bunch of prescriptions and make you feel like shit. Oh yeah, that one makes your dick small, by the way, but at least you won't have that heartburn. Kinda. It's like, what a trade-off, right? Thanks for ruining my life, but I won't get that acid reflux anymore. When all I had to do is have some more calcium and salt in my diet, you fucking jerk off, and I wouldn't have had to take that pharmaceutical.
Because sometimes it's receptors that resist the hormones. For example, people with insulin resistance often have high insulin levels.
Dumbass. This is a symptom. This is a description of a condition that's being caused by something else, and it's a description of a symptom that's going to be caused by taking peptides. Everything that you shock your system with, it has the potential of creating inflammation and obviously disruption and panic responses, which means your pituitary gland, your hypothalamus, and potentially your thyroid, the HPT axis, or the other HPT axis, which is hypothalamus, pituitary, testes, or PTO, I guess, if you're going to be talking about the female. But at any given time, that could trigger all kinds of endocrine issues. And it could burn out things to where they're not going to respond or be as on the up and up as they used to be. So you're gonna push yourself really hard in one direction, and then when it's taken away because it was meant to only be a cycle or whatever, or you're not gonna pin this stuff forever. Well, then it's even less of a functionality than it was before because you pushed it far, you broke the button, the little spring in the arcade game button to kick and kick and kick. Now when you do it, nothing's happening. Or you can look at that as like an opioid receptor too, right? You pounded that button too hard with all those opioids, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, can't get anything to happen anymore. Yeah, that sucks. My brain's all burnt out.
I'm sure there are plenty of places that now offer full hormone panels but don't test resistance. Also remember, the people who have a Wolverine stack are also taking steroids. And while peptides signal your body to produce certain hormones, steroids are hormones that directly override your body's natural systems. And I know it's in the human starter pack to think, this seller is legit, I can probably dose this myself based on a vibe, and I will get good results. Because my heart is pure. But you're giving the human body too much credit. Or too little.
Yeah, too
your
little.
Your brain can't even tell the difference between...
No, don't associate this thing up here with your body and your vital force, which it was already handling everything the best it could with the shit that you were giving it. And then you go like, I'm not satisfied with the way I'm performing. It's like, okay, well, here's two things. Are you actually doing anything when you're at the gym? Are you actually pushing yourself hard enough? Because yes, you can do less and get more when you're jacked out of your mind on steroids with all the other problems that come with it. And you're blaming your body for you keeping it at like below the E level in the gas tank. It's not completely out yet, but it's coasting on fumes, and you're fucking up your fuel pump because the tank is too low. And then you're like, oh, this isn't performing the way I thought it should. Maybe you should fix that part first, because maybe you'll be more than happy with the results that you get when you put forth effort in physical activity if you're fully nutrified and your body's actually able to do all the things that it's supposed to do when it has everything it needs. Maybe you'd be like, wow, I feel super physiological already. Yeah, and you didn't have to do anything that was unnatural and stupid. So you're welcome for the last 20 years of your life that we just maintained rather than you sacrificing.
Imagine stress, and you think you will know what to do with a full vial of stress-decreasing, tan-enhancing, dick-hardening, inflammation?
Yeah, the GHK, see, these are real ones. These are in like, I don't know, Red 40. Yeah, great. GHK copper thing. That's an interesting one.
Whatever the fuck? Doubt it. Now, before I get to the conclusion, I wanted to try and figure out why peptides are so popular, because it's like stacks are becoming the new 10-step skincare routine in terms of hype. This DIY aspect of looks
if that woman was a Israeli, which I looked like she was, either she's, which you can't really tell if they're Arab or that, which is another tell that they're mixed. But yeah, let her inject herself with crazy shit all day long. We don't care.
Is very interesting to me. I feel like parents today aren't looking.
And then people always associate with the person, the way they look when they are presenting themselves, and whatever the hell they have holding in their hand, like if it's a pre-workout, or whatever the case may be. Oh yeah, this is a like creatine right there. That somehow that is associated with the way why they look the way they do. And they don't ever assume that this person looks the way they do already, and now they're gonna let us associate Brand X with, wow, look at that, yeah. Must be that Brand X doing that. Must be that peptide doing that for her. The silicon did not grow itself because she took a PC or that GPU, whatever the fuck that was, CU, poo-poo, everything.
Drugs under the bed, they're looking for CJC and Botox. But searching for this information led me to watching some incredibly uninteresting and repetitive midpoint takes with journalists and YouTubers either frankly making fun of teenagers with eating disorders among other mental health issues, or
they're not mental health issues, they're bitch issues. Shut up. Either you get a hold of your nutrients, your nutrition, and you stop eating the bad food. That's not something that you have. It's like training yourself how to do things. Like, you know how to walk and one foot in front of the other. Okay, you know how to eat? No, obviously you don't. So somebody didn't teach you, right? Here's how you eat. And then it doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to make too many bad decisions or enough of them, or have the stomach or the appetite to do something. Oh, people with eating disorders. That's mental. A lot of it, like starving yourself, bulimia. Some of it's positive, right? Because everything's poison. So the less often you eat that or keep it down, the less poison's going to be in your body. So that's kind of a good thing, considering. You get to taste it when you're throwing it back up in 10 minutes. Hey, you got to enjoy it, and now it's gone. And then before the stomach acids hit your esophagus, hooray! You hack the system. Now you're not going to get fat either. You're not going to have to digest anything. Hooray! Heard that's bad for your heart, though. But I don't know if that's true. I'm sure it is, given if you do it too often, you don't eat anything. But people crying and bitching and moaning on the internet about their eating disorders, I don't understand that. You know what an eating disorder is when you go to school and you get picked on for being a fat ass, or you get broken by somebody who's bigger than you because you don't eat enough and you're not strong enough, and they snap you like a twig. That's your cue to change things, right?
Using talking points that would have been relevant to looks maxing if it was 2012, and is now a whole separate thing. I really want to make a video about this, but until then, as a general rule, do not inject yourself with anything if you don't know where it came from.
What do you mean if you don't know where? No caveats. Don't inject yourself with anything, full stop.
Blue. Trust your monkey brain and don't let your struggles override.
Oh, and then also we're monkeys.
Your self-preservation instincts. Okay, bye.
So I had a few disagreements with that, quite a lot actually. But let's go back to the chat real quick, and I'm gonna go say Guten Nighten to my daughter. Oh, nobody said anything. All right, let me go back over here. See, make sure there's nobody over on the. And there is. Saxon Ranger said hello. And then AI viewers on Steamboat. Hooray! We got our AI viewers on Steamboat thing again. Steamboo. Sorry. Boo. Anybody talking over here? No. I don't understand this. How did I get 500 and what? 562 people that one day. For what? I don't understand. Oh, and now there's 2. Oh, that was quick. Oh, well, then I guess I have to do this. Hold on. Where is it? I'm going to put the Buy Me Coffee link in there. Since, people obviously they want to support the show so they can see more of it. Obviously. So otherwise I have to, do other things. Trying. Sending of a whole YouTube website here to try to put a bunch of data on here that could be useful to also, personal trainer clients / health advice, nutrition advice. So that's kind of like what we do over. Did I even keep one open? I don't think I did. Kind of did, like this. The sociopath stare. Isn't that cute? Did I pull that one up? I don't think I did. That one I didn't think it looked good. So again, Fit Wit at Wisdom Fitness AZ. Okay? Go over there and subscribe to that mofo. Mr. Mofo Rising. Is that the one? No, that was. Thank you, sir. Mr. Edward Snowman is a very awesome, very supportive, very great human being. Funny as well. some of the best comments as we go along here. Thank you, Edward Snowman. Let me go ahead. I'll do one of these. Refresh. Thank you very much, Edward. It is greatly appreciated. I did one of these. I replied to, and then I refreshed, and it wasn't there. Maybe I didn't hit the send, but I thought I did. There's 33 supporters. People are gonna think that we're in a cult or something now. I don't know. They don't let poor people in cults. I don't know. They don't let. What the fuck? 2 whole followers, and it's just me and my other channel. Screw you people. 8 followers to go to get to 10. Twitch. I don't understand Twitch. But anyhow, where was we at? This thing right there. So if you're over here, you should be over there as well. And I dropped this one this morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So this is the follow-up for this one. This one got 574 views and following and counting. The view to like ratio I never will understand. But there's it's whatever. There's been some comments on this one. This one was fun to make. This one was also fun to make. And there's some Dr. Glidden in here. Want me to show you a little bit of the preview here? There's the ferritin. Yeah, shut up. Stop it. God damn. So we get into this quickly. So we got a little bit of the old. This guy. It's a good picture of him. It's a good chipmunk. Oh, wait, man, I might have to take that. Hold on. It's just too funny. Hold on. Go away. There you go. Print screen. There you go. Perfect. But yeah, I let Dr. Glidden respond to him from 2016 or 15 or something like that. He's responding to modern day. He came from the past in his time machine. He's Doc Brown. But yeah, he goes through this, and then He pops up again. I think that was the last part of it. But yeah, then I go into the whole diatribe of and I try to make it funny, but also informative. And this is the part too. They weren't intended to be so long, but all the information without repetition, some of it had to be recapped so that if only people watch the one video, they'd at least get the core information from the next one. But there's so much shit that this thing that they're about to release into the public is going to cause people. And I think obviously people are assuming because they're not injecting it, it's not a steroid and it's not regulated and nobody's banned it yet from like WADA or anything, that somehow this is the safe alternative. You don't have to worry about it. You can just take it and no problems. You know, you can go off the rails. If it tells you to take one, that means two is even better. Take two of them, right? No, it's not weight dependent dosing. And 500 milligrams with 5 milligrams of the piperine or the black pepper extract. I didn't know black pepper extract like prevents enzymes in your liver from actually doing their job and filtering out and, you know, kind of like denaturing some shit in your system before it can be sent through your body. So with that black pepper extract in it, it's basically preventing that from happening, and also bioavailability. It's like forcing it into your cells. So this maximizes the max even more. And then they're telling you that they're going to give you free DHEA and boron to go with it, which is every single organ you can think of in less than the 1 month time that they tell you to take this before cycling off. Most people are going to be having horrific adverse effects 3 to 10 days in, with the rest of them probably having it by 15 or 18 days in. And everybody's going to be very upset with the Greg. And that's why I'm putting these videos out there. He's gonna fall. He doesn't even know it yet. And it's not going to be my doing because I'm the one doing all the warning here. It's just something that I came across and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. This stuff is I mean, you could be stuck on TRT and HRT because you will have burned out your own ability to make this stuff. And that's the only time I can say, well, yeah, you set up the circumstances to need this stuff. It's not just because you got old and, oh my God, it's just like, yeah, look at all the other things you don't do because you're trusting your doctor when he tells you to go on a statin or, you know, lower your cholesterol and your salt intake, and nobody knows about the minerals and nutrients. And then you're like, oh, I have low T, I better go get an injection. Well, and that's what Dr. Glidden in this newer one addresses from that video. This is actually a boa constrictor, hold on, a portion of a video that you wouldn't be able to get unless you're on his membership site. And I only took a little bit of it. And I got permission ahead of time. I think I heard my daughter. So I'm going to play a video for you. I know I just heard somebody. I don't know if they're talking to me or not, but I'm going to say, hola. This is Flock tells cops to lie and gaslight about big tech surveillance usage. This is the Wretched Watchman guy again from yesterday. So, yesterday and the day before. Was it yesterday? No, it was yesterday. Then we had the hiccup. All right, I'll be back.
All right. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with Alpers or automatic license plate readers or Flock, Axon, that type of stuff. And yeah, big tech runs on gas lighting. It says, do not mention Alper usage. How cops are trying to hide their use of Flock. Yeah, they're being instructed. Cops are being instructed to hide this technology being used against the people. It says, when cops use Flock to arrest somebody in Wapello County, Iowa, they don't want them to know. A usage policy for the automated license plate reader cameras in the county tells police in no uncertain terms to keep them a secret. Do not mention Alper usage to the occupants of the vehicle. The policy document reads, do not mention Alper usage in your report or complaint unless absolutely necessary. This is your supposed public service agent. This is supposed to be there to serve the public. And they're doing everything that they can to use dystopian surveillance technology to take your rights away and arrest you, and then hide what they're using in order to be a giant dystopian boot on your neck. Again, this is another one of those cases where it's like, I wish people would realize and wake up to the fact of what's going on. This is why it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter now, because even the sheriffs are just as corrupt as the regular police are. But that's why the Constitution specifically outlines a representative law enforcement that is not connected. It is not a part of the same judge and jury system. It's supposed to be a checks and balance system. That's why the Constitution says law enforcement needs to be a representative sheriff. And that's why the Constitution outlines not having police, because police are technically a standing military. And we're not supposed to have that, because that means the very same people that are investigating you and arresting you work for the very same people that are going to issue the charges and punishment on you. And it's not supposed to work that way. But again, it doesn't matter anymore. We're at a point right now, and I've tried to stress this as much as I could. We're at a point right now where even trying to go to the right direction to uphold what is right and what is lawful in this country does a representative law enforcement that is not connected. It is not a part of the same judge and jury system. It's supposed to be a checks and balance system. That's why the Constitution says law enforcement needs to be a representative sheriff. And that's why the Constitution outlines not having police, because police are technically a standing military. And we're not supposed to have that, because that means the very same people that are investigating you and arresting you work for the very same people that are going to issue the charges and punishment on you. And it's not supposed to work that way. But again, it doesn't matter anymore. We're at a point right now, and I've tried to stress this as much as I could. We're at a point right now where even trying to go to the right direction to uphold what is right and what is lawful in this country doesn't matter, because we're so far gone that you either can't do it, or if you were to do it, you would collapse another section of society, because our country has become so corrupt and so broken and so beyond what is lawful and constitutional. There's no going back. That's why, having the argument of, well, we need to get the financial system back. There's no way that you can do it without breaking it. That's why we need to get rid of these social programs, and we need to start doing this. Again, there's so many people that are so reliant upon those social programs, even though they're not supposed to be here in this country, that if you take them away, you're going to be killing millions of people in this country. So even doing the right thing now can't be done. It can't be. And this is the reality of the situation. Again, I'm not here to try and make you feel bad or go doom and gloom. Again, this is not that case. If you have your hope in Jesus Christ, when we're talking about this stuff, even in this case, we should take that as encouragement, because that means we're getting closer to going home. This is the lawlessness. This is the corruption. This is the downward trajectory towards that globalist beast system that's coming. And so don't get down and out about it. But again, if we keep our eyes on heavenly things, we'll understand that, okay, we can't spend our time talking about trying to fix a system that cannot be fixed. We need to get out there and make sure that we're warning people about this system and what it's turning into, and share the gospel with them. And a hint, the system is not turning into communism. Again, I'm seeing that everywhere. It's going to be communism. No, it's not. This is going to be a neo-feudalistic technocracy. You're going to be begging for communism to what they're building. Anyways, a lot of rants tonight. Just got to go with it. The police guidance document is unusual in how clearly it tells police not to mention the flock use, but it also highlights several important things in the flock debate. While Flock likes to say that it is transparent surveillance company, I'm Barbara Walters, and that it cares about accountability and governance. That's a knee slapper. Oh man, some of its customers believe its use should be kept secret, including city councils, sheriff's departments, and police departments. Flock is now operating in thousands of cities and towns, and when, how, and why police use the system is wildly inconsistent. Yep. Goes on to say it is not just local police and small communities who are creating policies designed to obfuscate, my word, can I get that out, flock usage. Earlier this year, we reported that police in multiple states were being told to be as vague as permissible about why they were using Flock because their searches could be obtained using public records requests, and that warning was being shared by the FBI and Department of Justice. Because there's been so many reports now of cops getting caught red-handed, stalking women, stalking other people, searching people, following people that they're not supposed to be, literally using both the Alper system as well as the crime incident databases, where cops have been caught stalking women who have reported crime incidences and have been victims of crimes, and these cops are positioning themselves outside of places like coffee shops and gyms where these girls go to in order to be a shoulder to cry on and to try and obtain a romantic date.
That is
because of it. That's
sick.
what this stuff is being used for. We're not even talking about mega corruption of what this is being used for, the giant dystopian surveillance system. We're talking about just sinful man as cops
Disgusting
who are
people.
stalking women to try and either get back at an ex-partner, or they're trying to obtain dates from women who have reported crimes. This is the world, the society that we live in. It's not just here either. This is going on in places like Canada. I did a report about how that stuff's happening in Canada too.
Kennedy.
So keep that in mind. But these cops are getting caught because of this stuff. There's more and more reports almost daily. There's new reports about cops getting caught. Some of them searching the same person. Most of the time, it's either an ex-lover or like an ex-wife or something. Up to 400-500 times a month, they are checking in on these cars. They're stalking people. And those are just the reports that we're getting. We're getting reports from these police stations that are saying, keep this on the hush-hush. Be as vague as possible. Whenever you search this stuff, don't put it in reports. Don't put it in these things so you don't get caught.
Wow.
That's what the police chiefs and the district chiefs are telling the police.
There's a log, though, isn't there? Oh,
not
wait,
because
there's not.
they want to make sure that they're doing the right thing and making sure these cops are getting kicked off the forces for abusing this surveillance technology that shouldn't be in there in the first place. No, they're doing this to protect themselves. And this, we've talked about how there's all these movements. You get the feminism movement and what that became. There was that whole, you guys remember the Me Too movement when it came to the assault on men, which is an extension of the feminism thing. Then you got the stuff when it comes to like the BLM movements. You got the Antifa movements. You got the J6 stuff. You got the Proud Boy movements. Well, one of the other movements that has to do with influencing the stuff was the Back to Blue movement. Which that became an instance of no matter what, we support the cops. And so now even when this stuff is coming out, people
kissing ass, making excuses, being a good little Stockholm syndrome prisoner of the system. Isn't that nice? Remember how much loyalty means to people who want you dead, and maybe think of a different strategy.
Are not believing the reports of what these cops are doing because they were gaslit by the movement of the Back to Blue. And so this is one of those things where this is the gaslighting. Not only are the police gaslighting people when it comes to using Flock technology, but also movements attached to it are using it to make sure that people don't accept reality and simply reject the truth because they were told back to blue no matter what. And the Black to Blue movement was at war with the BLM movement. You guys remember that? Because it came from the defund the police departments because of the BLM thing. You see how they pit each other against both sides, gaslighting their own people and pitting them against each other. Meanwhile, the people who are controlling it above it are just sitting there laughing and moving forward with their agenda because people are so brainwashed into fighting each other as opposed to actually paying attention to who's in control.
Right. And when you pose two sides that are wrong, that are corrupt, but one is obviously extremely biased, jaded, and we can even call them racist on the BLM side, and they're the ones saying get rid of the police, and then they use all these stupid examples. They want people to be against that. So Oh, what's the counter to that? Oh, back the blue. It's like they feed you the things. They teach you how to engage with them. You can't win when your opponent is giving you parameters that they don't follow. That you're supposed to work within those confines when you engage them. They give you the limitations. That doesn't work. That's not how you fix anything or get ahead of anything.
Of these movements. This is just total manipulation, societal manipulation, brainwashing, propaganda, narratives, gaslighting, all into one package when it comes to this. And it's hard because a lot of people don't want to recognize that, because just the fact that I'm even bringing this up, there's going to be a lot of people that have been brainwashed by that, and they're going to immediately result into calling me a leftist. Simply because I'm pointing out a campaign that's being used by both sides in order to pit people against each other, and both of them are gaslighting and altering reality in order to do it. Mm-hmm. But they revert back to that brainwash that they've had their entire life. No, I was told conservatives, Republicans, we support the police. You're a leftist, you support BLM. No, I'm just trying to tell you what's going on.
Yeah, like when I was saying they're murdering unarmed people in Gaza, and somebody asked me if I would, a friend of us, so you're a Democrat now? Like, what? What? I was like, wow, that's really shallow thinking. Anybody who does horrible things to unarmed people and children is a bad person. But it's okay as long as they pretend a certain side of the political arena. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, those people who are pro-Palestine, those are those lefty. Well, that's why they did that. That's why they had those people go out and present it that way, because they didn't understand the situation either. But they're not, the people who are the biggest screamers for things are usually the least informed on the topic, which is evident of all the times they're being interviewed and asked questions. They don't even know what the hell is going on. They can't formulate an intelligent argument about anything, and they have no information or data. There's a reason for that. They want a certain group of people to represent the side that actually sometimes is right, is correct. Bad things are bad, and you shouldn't support bad things. But oh my God, you put a different face on it. You put a how dare you face on it, a Thunberg, and then, oh yeah, that's all leftist stuff. No, it's, you don't kill kids and you don't do genocidal acts on people, especially when they're unarmed, and you don't do an 80-year history of doing that and then support people who go around utilizing and training Palantir and AI to create kill lists and target lists for the IDF, and with the criteria of children. And that's what they did. Oh, that person had twins, and then they blew up the house with the kids inside. That happened.
It's man, I don't know. I've spent so much time. I don't necessarily report on it too much. I did a series on it, the Psywar series, but I've spent so much time looking at the psychology of how this stuff works, the psychology of warfare and what they're doing. And it's just, if people had any idea what's going on with this, man, it's crazy. It goes on to say, Wapello County's standard operating procedures document for flock cameras was created in November of 2025, so it's relatively fresh. And it goes on to say, do not mention ALPR usage in your report. Again, ALPR, ALPR, automated license plate reader. Usage in your report or complaint unless absolutely necessary. If asked a direct, this is straight from the police department's document. If asked a direct question about ALPR usage by someone such as an attorney, tell the truth, it says. If it is necessary to explain in a report, it is advised to use language such as using county resources. Mm-hmm. So again, they're saying fudge it. They're saying skew it. They're saying hide the actual details of what's going on. Using county resources, I discovered the suspect vehicle was bearing a Iowa plate. So basically lying. It's lying. It's saying using county resources. I just discovered that they were using. No, you used an Alper, but they don't want that in the report because it makes this whole system look bad. It says treat the Alper information like you would intelligence. It is simply a lead that you verified and acted on. It says the guidance to keep flock use secret is reminiscent but less extreme than guidance on other secretive police technologies. For years, police tried to hide the existence of cell site simulators known as stingrays, going as far to drop criminal cases where it was likely that the judge would expose information about them. So again, once a case gets into discovery, they drop it altogether because they don't want the information getting out that they were using the stingray technology. Stingrays are essentially fake cell phone towers that can be used to identify the phones of people in a specific area. They still use these things all over. They have mobile stingrays now. They used to just be towers. You would find them like they would be dropped off in certain locations as like a little on a trailer, and it kind of looked like a miniature cell tower. Now they just put these into vehicles. There's a whole bunch of vehicles, police vehicles now that just have stingrays in them. That basically it's a giant dragnet as they go through. It's a fake cell phone tower, and if a cell phone pings off of it, because that's what these things do, your cell signal just pings off all these towers. It would collect your data. It would identify who you are and be able to track you via the cell phone network. And so they didn't want that information getting out either. In the public records request, Sheriff Don Phillips said there is no need to tell people about the use of flock. And again, here we go. This is what I was talking about. Again, even the right thing is not the right thing because now the sheriffs are on the payroll when it comes to all this usage as well. Proton. So driving by and gathering our cell phone contents. Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. They have these fake towers that do just that. And again, this is I know the main name when it comes to all this Alper stuff is Flock, but keep in mind there's a ton of them out there. Flock's the big one, obviously, because they're the most controversial, but Axon is going in and replacing a lot of the stuff. Axon's got the ones with the smart streetlights that have the cameras and the microphones as well. Streetlights. But there's other ones that are just, they're not really
not just traffic lights, but light says and the ones that are probably right outside your door, pretty close to your driveway.
Names out there that you'll find that police use all the time. Police still use license plate readers and place them in like parking lots and stuff. There's these little towers that have like the flashing blue lights. Yep. The HEBs here in Texas have them all over the place. You just pull into an HEB parking lot and there's a police tower sitting there. It's just it's a license plate reader. It's not Flock. It's not Axon. It's just another version of it. We know the UK and the European Union's got them. Canada's got them going on. Mexico's got them going on. And they're not all Flock. It's just Flock is the main one known out there. So Alpers in general are just getting worse and worse and worse. And keep in mind, most modern cop cars have Alpers, automatic license plate readers installed on the cars themselves now. Even things like the Tesla, people driving Teslas around, guess what's installed on those? People don't even realize that they're driving around with Alpers on there, and that data is being sent to Tesla, which is being sent to the centralized database, and bada bing, bada boom. So there's no escaping it. There's no escaping it. As much as I love seeing a story about somebody taking down a Flock camera as much as the next guy, and I always like give a little fist jab. It's like, yeah, it doesn't do any good, but it's still nice to see. That's all I can say. Yeah. Yeah, we have to take down the cult. That'll help. Anyway. Yeah, take out the banking cult. That leads us to this as well. More gaslighting when it comes to this technology. Own the narrative. Leaked Flock guide shows how it teaches cops to promote its technology, to gaslight city councils into accepting the technology. It says this document shows a coordinated effort from Flock Safety to compel law enforcement agencies to convince our elected leaders to represent their interests in a company rather than the interests of concerned citizens. And this is, again, something that we've been talking about specifically in the last 6 months that has increased where these city councils The fact that we are not putting a dent into this
And it's the same formula as to why data centers are going to come in no matter what. The no matter what ends at unless people figure out the source of the issue and address it there. Because if they don't, and they're still just worrying about the individual symptoms, they're going to get schizophrenic going back and forth. And then there's going to be other distractions involved where, oh, look, now there's a civil unrest and there's a bunch of YNs, looting a store or something like that. And we got to pay attention to that. And we got to talk about how this is, indicative of their flooding of America with a bunch of migrants. And then that's going to be this other thing. And oh boy, well, who's doing that? Again, go back to the source of the issue and address that. Stop the respawner. Stop the thing that's continually to generate all these problems for us. And if they're so entwined with government, maybe that means that we have to start leading ourselves. Maybe we need to find a way to make a much more fair and honest society and generate our own form of money until we realize we don't need it. Money until we realize that the world is of abundance. And that can happen hundreds of years from now if we wanted to. But right now, let's just take the power out of their control. Like, wampum. Maybe wampum. Anybody know how to make bead stuff? You use some wampum. So get off the dollar and use wampum for everything.
Are not only not listening to the people, the majority of the people against these things, but they're hiding, they're arresting, and they're moving city council meetings into undisclosed locations so people can't even show up. Again, I'll talk about that probably on.
Wouldn't that be kind of like unconstitutional? All right, we're prisoners. Forgot.
On Tuesday. That's something that I just saw that we can't get to tonight. This 404 Media has obtained a coaching guide that Flock Surveillance gives to police about how to speak to city councils about public safety technology. The handbook highlights how Flock and police team up to convince cities to buy and keep its automated license plate reader technology, even when there's widespread public opposition to it, and encourages police to own the narrative before someone else does. Gaslight. By championing the technology before citizens can oppose it during public comment periods. Do you guys not recognize what's going on? They're telling the police and they're telling the city councils that are getting these guides, you're going to war against the people.
Mm-hmm.
Your goal is not to change the minds of the people.
And who trains them? Oy vey. And the FBI, which is just an extension of them. And they get all excited and feel super, authoritative and powerful. These little power tripping pieces of shit when they get interagency training. They've been trained for decades that the public is the enemy. It's not public enemy number. No, the public itself is the enemy. That's why a lot of these police officers don't, and the sheriffs are just as bad. But the police officers don't even live in the same place where they shit all day as a police officer. Because, God forbid, people take care of their own problems and get rid of the true tyrant and the true gang member that's in their territory. So a lot of times they go next county over when they go to work. And then they go back to their residence. They're not in the same area anymore.
Goal is to stand your ground and make sure that this technology that suppresses and places chains upon the people gets through.
Wow.
And that's what the city councils and the cops are doing. They're taking their orders from these technology companies, even though they're supposed to be representatives of the people, but they are taking the position of being at war with the people that they supposedly serve.
They don't serve people. They serve municipalities.
It's one of those
municipal
things
corporations
where
if they served the people at all, they would never pull anybody over because that's all color of law bullshit.
This is not a case of they're blatantly telling you. This is a case of you have to read between the lines and see it, because this is what's been going on, and it's getting
I'd like his reporting. He does a good job.
worse. Again, you have city council telling police and sheriffs to arrest people at city council meetings for using their First Amendment right, not breaking any laws, not breaking any rules, using their First Amendment right in opposition of what the city council is doing. And the police and the sheriffs are obeying an unlawful order to arrest and charge the people for utilizing their First Amendment right. This is not a one-off situation. This is consistently
Systemic.
happening every single day all over this country. Your
And
hope is
before
not-
that, they were calling people who spoke out at PTA meetings when they were pushing critical race theory and gender bullshit. They were calling them domestic terrorists. They don't have any problem letting the prisoners know that they're prisoners. They don't have any problem. In fact, that's part of the whole system. That's what keeps the balance of power, right? Their power, your imbalance, I should say. The constant reminders that you really don't have any rights. And the moment you try to claim them, they let you know that they were an illusion, and that your children aren't yours. The state owns them, and they're going to teach them however way they decide. And you have they're going to poison them however way they decide too. And if you try to get in the way of that, they'll steal your children and give them to a same-sex couple or something like that. And of course, they'll just end up being raped to death and tortured.
Not in government. Your hope is not in politics. Your hope is not in city council, mayor, police, government, Senate, Congress, president, none of it. Your hope is not in these people who are actively at war with the people, because they are being told by the people above them to install this system even at the behest of the people.
I don't think that was the right word to use.
Faith in Jesus and Jesus alone. The PDF guide.
I think it'd be a begrudgment, not the behest. I think on behest isn't behest like because of your your prompting. Yeah, if it was at the behest of the people, it would be their command or order to do so. That's what I meant. Like they're prompting of you to do something. That's it's not the right word. I didn't think it was. Where'd he go?
Notes that the general public and cities now increasingly expect transparency, oversight, and accountability alongside public safety outcomes, and tells police to not argue with people who believe that Flock's license plate readers are mass surveillance, because if they do, all that does is draw more attention to it. Their goal is to try and just ignore it and continue.
Well, this is just right out in the open, but will anybody act on this? Because going out and physically doing anything to them is kind of walking into the trap that they want. Oh, these people are out of control. They're blah, blah, blahing. Well, time to crack down on those people. Oh, well, you know what? And how are they used? How will they find out who that? Well, the same system. How will they find out who's doing all of it? Who's taking all these down? I'm sure they have their own people doing it too. I'm sure there's false flag people right now teaching the monkeys how to dance, and they're going down and they're tearing down these posts and all that. And then when real people go out and say, haha, yeah, we're going to do that too, we're following the leader, then they're going to get busted. And then everybody's going to be declared a class or category, labeled domestic terrorist, anti-semicolon, racist, whatever the hell that scares people into submission and fear. And then everybody in the world turns on them because they get virtue signaled to do so, because they don't know how to think for themselves or look at anything objectively. And then the whole public is against you for doing something or for supporting something. Now you're a sympathizer. This is all going to roll into the whole Purim thing when it starts getting, and they'll be injecting the whole anti-semicolon, anti-Semitic bullshit, that whole trope too. As they have, of course, been building that narrative. There's never been more hatred against Jewish. No, there's disgust against killers. And if a particular group is constantly taking actions to do horrific atrocities, and they're constantly doing it and shielding themselves with a particular religion that was made up by a bunch of cult members in the first place, well then yeah, people are going to associate the action with the group, because that's what you would do if you were thinking objectively. But when you do that, it's because you hate something. Well, yeah, if that group of people, the defining characteristics of them is that they get to murder, they get to rape, and they get to do horrible things to children. Well, no, that's not acceptable. Then that's not really a religion anymore, is it? That's more of a cult, or it's a gang. It's a criminal organization that just so happens to have a state that we tailored for them so that they could spark off problems, and it wouldn't be America directly doing it, but we want to be in the conflict. So if that place does it, I'm not going to say the freaking name anymore. If that place full of those pedo protectors and all the other pieces of shit they have there, if they spark it off, then we're just going in there to assist. But it's all part of the game because the banking cult owns us, and it owned us first. Federal Reserve, bam. Incorporation, boom. I'm knowing going backwards in time. Civil War, oops, there goes the country.
Things through. Don't avoid the concept of mass surveillance because you're not going to convince opponents that it's not, the company recommends. Flock tells law enforcement agencies they need to try and
holy shit, so they are now finally just saying it's mass surveillance. Flock is always like, yeah, we're not doing it for that, we're doing it to stop crime. Now they're flat out telling you who they are. And they're telling you what they are. They're facilitating the system that's going to make life here even more miserable and impossible, so that everything that you do is punishable, is a crime, and the punishments will be severe. This is the Oive way.
City council and city managers that the technology is worthwhile before meetings with the public occur, that they need to have a carefully scripted presentation ready to go, and that people need to say they want Flock because they want to keep the community safe. Gaslighting. You care about...
And how many people do you think are going to be artificially artificial or plants at these meetings that are going to try to set the tone among the community? Because the community obviously will be against this type of surveillance, but if enough people show up that push back against the people who don't want it, then they're going to read the room as this isn't a unified position by our community. Some of our community wants this, so then they're going to be arguing with people that aren't even real, and they're going to take the focus off the people who are going to do it no matter what. And that is exactly what they want. And it's gonna dilute the water, because they're not going to be in unison, because they're going to have plants in that community, in that council meeting, that will stand up and praise the police officers, praise the councilman, praise the representatives, and praise Flock. That's disgusting. But they'll control it. They'll control the narrative. And then I'm sure they'll have their own little stupid fake experts. I'm a blah, 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 and I lived in this community. Meanwhile, he's like, some crisis actor or whatever. I'm a blah, 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 and I live in this community. And I can tell you from my expertise in my bullshit field that this is a lot of misunderstandings, and there's a lot of panic and a lot of paranoia going on around this whole idea. And it's just it's absolutely ridiculous, because I work in a sector that I see this on the other side of things, and you people are just nuts. It's going to be shit like that.
Your community, that's why you're bringing this in. Again, they're trying to flip it around. It's like, oh, no, you're saying it's mass surveillance and whatnot, but don't you care about the community? Don't you care about protecting the community? That's why.
Yeah. Don't you want cameras staring into your schools, your playgrounds, and your gymnastics, and every building that you go into? Don't you want Flock to be the ones that handle all the third-party metadata for that? Even if they're not actual Flock cameras, that Flock itself actually does handle that, and then just makes it available to anybody on the internet if they know how to get to it, like Ben Jordan, so that you can, I don't know, go shopping for children if you're a sick fuck, and the whole entire country is run by those sick fucks, as they've let you know. Yeah, there's a problem with this, huh? Don't you want that? No, who the hell does? You know, let the parents be the parents. Instead of you watching everybody and knowing exactly when somebody's going to be someplace by their patterns and their routines, and when, you know, a back is turned so that you little creepy weasels can come out of your ground from your subterranean little layers that you have and go and snatch kids and take them away so you can sell them to whoever the hell said, I would like this one.
That's why we're bringing this in. So if you oppose this, then you don't care about the community. It's the same thing that Congress is doing when it comes to the online passports and the internet passports and the digital ID. They're doing the same thing when it comes to kids.
Yes.
One of the people who's
CSAM. Don't you want to stop the CSAM? The child sexual abuse material? Don't you want it to stop people from being victimized? Well, if you wanted to do any of that, you would just take down Roblox, because a lot of the predators are right there. You know, you could actually do something about it. You know where they are. You know that they're users there. No. Leave it to there's a early 20s or late teens kid that's done more to expose those people than any form of government has, or any form of authority.
Started that whole trend was Josh Hawley, who is praised in the churches as a good Republican here to protect and restore the Constitution, when he's a part of the very same people that are destroying it.
This is the same thing as, what do you want to kill grandma? Get your shot. Wear the mask. Social distance. There's nothing sociable about distancing, by the way. Ha.
To install a digital slave system. Well, we need this digital ID and age verification and stuff. We need to take the ability of people to be anonymous online in order to protect the kids. Meanwhile, the very same people...
Yeah, and how long have we been without it? Like 30 years, right? Give or take. 96 to now. Right around there. It's kind of like when internet popped off. Can parents just be parents and be responsible, or that's not even considered anymore? No, you can't use that. No, you can't go on that site. No, this is locked out. There's parental locks on these things. You're not going to be able to do that. What's wrong with being parents? Well, because that takes power away from the government. Because it's not about them. It's not about the kids. Because if you argue on the kids thing, that since that's the way they want to present it, it falls apart already. So then there's another excuse. What about the people? What about all these statistics that we made up? What about this and that?
That are saying we're protecting the kids are the very same people trafficking and molesting the kids.
Right. Thank you, buddy. I like this guy.
You're being gaslit by politicians that don't give a rip about you, and you're sitting there.
They don't give a rip's ass.
Praising them and pushing them as some type of hero. The very same people that you said that you were against. The principles that you stood upon, you're actually praising the very same people participating in those that oppose them. It's just, it's funny. I was going through my phone the other day, and I'm somebody, I like memes. I think they're hilarious, you know, the pictures and stuff. Again, I post one every Sunday on Telegram. I think they're funny. I found one that I've had this for years, and it says, the leftists say that there's Nazis everywhere. The right wings say that there's communists everywhere. And I'm sitting there going, they're all a bunch of pedophiles. Everybody is pointing the finger at a communist or a Nazi, not realizing that the people that are gaslighting the group are the very same people that... Yeah.
And by definition, if you actually are saying that there's Nazis out there, you should not be envisioning in your mind National Socialists or Germany at all. You should be envisioning something that the ADL and the FBI and other Mossadi motherfuckers and shit like that crafted so that people would maintain this mental perspective or perception of Germany being everything that they've accused them of being, which was completely fraudulent. But that helps keep the lie of the fraud of numbers, the fraud cost alive. The forever victims, because nothing bad happens to anybody else. Well, when you see what they do to people in Gaza, doesn't that make well, you kind of wish there was less of them to do that. You kind of wish that some of that stuff was true in a sense, right? It's like, hey, it didn't happen, but it might not have been such a bad thing if it did, because maybe they wouldn't have regrouped to this quickly. But no, they would have been the wrong people anyway, unless they held on to the Rothschilds that they had. They let them go though. They ransomed them back. But it would have been nice if they were able to clean out the heads of the banking cult, because then their power structure really would have been shaken. The world would have been freed. Wouldn't that have been something? They're so close. And then we went and destroyed our natural allies, because that's what they do to us. They make us do that. Yeah. But anyhow, National Socialists, noble, honorable, and they wouldn't put up with the behavior of what a person who self-proclaims as being a Nazi acts like now. Even though they wave the flag and they act as if, and they do the salutes and all this, they're actually insulting the true nature and the core values of what the National Socialists represented, which was noble Gothic Aryan ancestry. That is the Uriahs, the ones that are bred for leadership. You know what the Uriahs did all throughout history? They led in places that they weren't from. So everybody was not like them for the most part. Small minority group of themselves, and then a territory of people that were ethnically different, and all of them were grateful for their leadership because they innovated and they took care of their people and they protected them as they should. The Scythians did the same thing. And this is all a bunch of nonsense when you get to the whole, let's hang them from the trees. And criminals should be taken care of. Nobody's going to argue that. Bad people who do bad things should be handled. And yeah, some of those people aren't there. I don't care about what made them do that? They killed somebody, they harmed somebody, they raped somebody. I don't give a fuck what happened to them. That conversation's already over because they decided to do shitty things now. Or because their sub-level IQ, substandard IQ it's not gonna matter. And I say IQ, how about intellect? Is not going to permeate with new information and change anything about them. So yeah, they shouldn't be intermingling with society anymore. They shouldn't be interacting with it anymore. However way that has to be done. But that's not to say, broad sweep and brush. Everybody who's this thing is, we should throw them into the fire or into the wood chipper. No. I'd rather just go for the people who are the child killers and the pedophiles, because that would kind of solve the same problem, wouldn't it? Anybody who's a rapist, anybody who's a mass murderer, anybody who goes in unprovoked and kills somebody, or does so based on their bullshit religion, they should all be handled in a very swift manner. Child killers, child harmers, child rapists, any of that stuff, and that would wipe out. We would need a new government because there would be nobody left there. We would need a new banking cartel because there wouldn't be anything left there. We would need a new Davos. We would need we don't want any of that stuff, but we would need a new Bank of International Settlements. We would need a new United Nations. We would need a new CDC, because all these people are involved in the same evil shit. And if they're poisoning the population and calling it healthcare, well, those people would be murderers as well, doing it deliberately, poisoning the well, if you will. And they would also be included in that. So you don't have to go after their ethnicity. You don't have to go after their fake religion. You just have to go after their crimes. And it'll solve the same problem. And it will address the same issues. Because that's an across the board trait, especially with that cult, when they say, if you accuse me of this thing, or if you call out my behavior, that's anti-semicolon. So what you're saying when you say that is that you cannot be separated from the act. You know, your identity is not separate from this act, meaning that act is part of your identity. Doing these horrible things is an aspect of what makes you the thing that you claim to be, as far as your ethnicity, your religion, your whatever. So they're saying it themselves. They're saying they're saying what we're not even saying, right? We're not saying that no, Jews are bad because they all do this thing. No, they're saying that. They're the ones saying that, because if you accuse them of a crime and they say, "Well, I'm Jewish, you're persecuting me," so what you're saying is all Jews should be allowed to do this horrific thing, which means all Jews have this attribute. Well, then you said that, not us. We were addressing the fact that you did criminal acts, not the fact that you were Jewish. And nobody gives a shit about your religion except when you're a killer, and then you blame it on, or you try to hide behind, oh, that's part of religious right, or we're Jewish and you're persecuting us. Well, that means that anybody in your group can cause havoc, genocide, crimes, poison people, abuse them, put them in a police state, put them in a surveillance state, and everything's okay because Jew? No, that doesn't work for us. You can't hide behind that. It's a criminal activity that we're concerned with. We want that to stop. And if you won't stop it, I mean, you're not going to, because you can't be reasoned with. This is hell, and it's your hell that you're creating. So hell is the impossibility of reason? Sure, fine. Whenever we have the opportunity to remove the people who want to create hell here and put them in some place where they can't be creating hell except for themselves, we should probably do that. And again, like I said, you don't have to go after the whole of anything. But if all of them do that same thing, it's going to solve the same problem, right?
It's remarkable. It's remarkable, and it's working perfectly. It's so funny because the same people that are out there talking about deception and gaslighting and whatnot are the very same people that are falling for the deception and the gaslighting. You got some of these guys out there that are, trying to defend Trump to the best of their ability, saying, oh, he's not perfect. He makes mistakes just like you and I make mistakes. And it's like you're gaslighting your congregation in order to protect a globalist pedophile who's been connected to everything corrupt and lawless happening in this country. Congratulations.
Yeah. Don't tell your congregation about that Trump Bible where he slaps his name on it and charges people $1,000 for it. Don't tell them about that. His made in China Bibles. Don't tell him about or tell anybody about the meme coin rug pull that he and Melania did for shit tons of money, or all the futures betting that happened because he says something about the war or about the Strait of Hormuz, and then all of a sudden it's the complete opposite, and he's pulling the Rothschild game that they did with the Battle of Waterloo. When you say you state the opposite, or the opposite gets leaked as news, so people start acting in the markets accordingly, and then you go ahead and you sweep up and you clean house because the truth is no, Napoleon lost. That type of deal. But he's been doing that shit. He did that 13 times, made a declaration, and then all the people that were in the insiders in the know, made shit tons of money. I bet you Pelosi did too. I bet you she was an insider. She does all kinds of stuff. She got $270 million
for it, even though you're trying to tell people that you didn't.
And she's literally some crime member.
One of the biggest proponents.
Is it a little weird that Pelosi owns a place called Goat Pizza? And I don't know if it's DC or if it's, I forgot where it was, but yeah, she owns a pizza shop because she needs the money.
Deception, who pushes all of this stuff, including the Seven Mountain Mandate and mystery music and the political system and everything involved with it, talks about deception, wrote a book called The Days of Deception, even though he's one of the biggest deceivers in the church today.
That's usually where they hide. You don't want real people talking about real things. You want controlled people talking about things in a way to where it's safe, because it's confined into a box where you can You're not supposed to paint outside these lines, and they don't. And if you act as the spokesman for something, then you're also the authority on the topic. So you can deter any true conversations being had on that topic because you're the authority. So, of course, these people who will present themselves as the good guys, because if they do in public and they have a high exposure to people, a higher influence, they make an impression on a lot of people, well, then those people are going to look to them for the guidance on that particular topic and look away from the people who will speak honestly about that topic because they're not as popular. They haven't been manufactured through the media system that they control.
It's gaslighting.
This guy's cool,
Flock
though.
began offering this guide as part of a broader attempt
We should have him on.
to coach police on how to push back against the criticisms of its policies and security practices. These include the fact that Flock data was regularly making its way into ICE, often in violation of sanctuary and state laws, that Flock was being used to search 83,000 cameras nationwide for a woman who had an abortion in Texas.
What?
And that Flock has been used by police to stalk people and surveil protesters. These investigations and broader concern over the surveillance state led to many cities to hold city council meetings to reconsider their Flock contract.
Something tells me there wasn't even a woman from Texas or a woman who had an abortion in Texas. It was just an excuse to cover up their usage of the cameras. Because again, just that whole thing, well, isn't that convenient? Because the moment somebody says a woman who had an abortion in Texas, you're going to have all the whole right say, well, good, I hope they get that girl because we're pro-life. You know what I mean? Like, it seems a little convenient that was the reason why they say that they were accessing all those cameras for something. ICE was doing that. Was it ICE? Did they really say that? Oh, or just that might have been isolated. I think there's a comma there. So maybe whoever, police, feds, whatever, probably cross state lines would be feds. They're looking at everything. They're not looking for one woman who did something that the system itself actually enjoys, which is child sacrifice to their cult.
And this Flock-produced guide in an attempt to help police shape the narrative in a way that will either convince cities to buy Flock or to keep their contracts. And that's another instance of how
go flock yourself.
They're utilizing this stuff because they're utilizing people's principles against them in order to install something else that they oppose in it. We're believers in Christ here. We understand that abortion is sinful. It's an abomination to the Lord and everything like that. But what they're doing is they're getting people like us who oppose abortion to praise what they did with Flock in order to go after the woman who went out of state to get an abortion.
Right, and that's why he's on it, man. He's on it. And then just like that, was there even a woman, or is that just a way to say, oh, wow, look, just like to plant the seed in the mind of the people who actually do have a little bit of soil there to make it grow? Oh, yeah, they're doing good with this thing.
Not realizing that not only are we against abortion, but we're also against the system that they used where they tried to, they tapped into 83,000 Flock cameras to track this woman across state borders.
Really?
In order to go and arrest her for committing a crime based upon the laws here in Texas. And it's one of those things where they're trying to get you to accept this dystopian system because we have principles against abortion. And I'm sitting there going, both can be the same. I can sit here and go, that woman committed sin and an abomination and committed murder, but at the same time, I am not for the dystopian system that tracked her across borders in order to go and arrest her for it. I can be for both of those, but they are expecting people to choose
right,
one
and most people
or
will.
the other. A lot of us are against.
You'd be like, well, you don't like this, do you? Yeah, just like every time they have a system or something else that has the capacity and the potential and probably the direct use to do great harm to people, like, I don't know, like Neuralink, they're going to tell you, oh, look, it helped this guy walk again. Oh, you want people to suffer, do you? Are you some kind of a monster? Everybody should get one of these things. Yeah, great. Yeah, okay, cool. That's what I want. I want Google ads, shot directly into my eyeballs, the back of my... Yeah, that's what I want. I want to have a Terminator screen in front of my eyes. Thanks a lot. Your clothes now.
Sanctuary city stuff because we understand what it brings. However, they're getting people to accept and promote ICE and what they're doing with this technology, not realizing that ICE is being used literally against all things constitutional to take away your freedom and your rights. The very same freedom and rights that you said, well, if Kamala Harris got in the presidency, she's going to be doing this. But because Trump got in the presidency and he's doing it, you're now in support of it, simply because there's an R next to the name as opposed to a D. Again, they're preying on people who don't actually have actual beliefs in anything, and they're manipulating them to accept the very same things that they were shouting against just a year or two ago.
And you know what this is actually a symptom or an indication of? Is that people are so hollow. We think that they're misplaced virtues. I think that they don't have virtues. I don't think they have empathy, compassion, or care. They're detached, they're kind of sociopathic, a little disinterested, apathetic maybe, or just dead inside. Like they don't have a meter for right and wrong, but they want and are eager to be perceived as being real people, and they know what, or they think they know what. It's hard for them to measure what people actually want to hear, so they just go with whatever else is happening around them. So they're mismatched, or they're, what they call that, what do they call that? I forgot. Man, my brain. It doesn't matter. Cognitive dissonance is a symptom of them not actually believing anything that they are stating, but they know that makes them a good person in the eyes of other people. So they're trying to play a part so that they look virtuous and they look like decent human beings. So that's why they go out and they protest and act like these crazy leftists, because they don't really care. They just want to express rage and outrage and all this other stuff, and they're looking for, they find the dumbest things. But then there's other people like this, like they'll run to the thing about the abortion thing and be like, yeah, gay flock, at least they got that girl for doing that bad thing. It's because they're not thinking deeply enough, because they're not attached to emotions and feelings and understandings and deeper comprehension levels, nor do they have the substance of soul and character to have any skin in the game. They don't really care about the situation. They just have chosen that they want to be perceived as standing for these whatever set of principles and virtues and morality. So anytime there's a way or an excuse or an opportunity for them to express, because they're trying to convince other people that they have these virtues, they jump on it. Because most people don't have to engage in all this stuff all the time. They know who they are. They know what they are. It's the sociopath or the the narcissist or whatever, the person that's just basically empty, who doesn't really have anything, but they've decided that they like the sound of certain virtues and certain positions on things, and so they're constantly trying to convince the world that they're this thing. Hey, look at me, I'm a good person. Hey, look at me, see? And they're gonna, because they don't have an idea or concept about what the core sense of all that is. They don't have a deeper understanding. They don't have a connection to it. They don't have any inherent intuitive understanding of it. They are very inconsistent, and that's why they can have cognitive dissonance, because they're faking it. They're frauds. They don't have any of these virtues, and they'll turn on a dime too, and they'll constantly contradict themselves.
Again, this is a part of the psychological factor that's being deployed on this, and it's genius. It's evil as all get out. Psychology is
diabolical,
such a dark and evil place.
Just call it oy vey mind, and you'll be correct.
I've talked about that anytime I go into this stuff. I don't recommend people dive into psychology. I've been there. It's dark. It's clearly satanic in nature, but this is how Satan operates. He utilizes this stuff in order to manipulate people. He takes away people's beliefs and principles, places them upon sinking sand of politics.
Chronos.
And so these people who shout the
Yahweh.
loudest don't actually believe in anything, even though they're the first person to tell you what they believe in.
Right. They don't believe in
simply
anything.
Go
See?
with what their politician or their party tells them to go with.
And the fact that they're okay with that is because they don't actually have any compass, and they don't have any roots. They don't have any roots that, would hold them from being pulled one way or the other, especially when it's going the wrong direction. That's why you can get a bunch of people on the side of somebody who constantly shows otherwise than what they actually claim to be, what claim to stand for. Like, how did Trump become the constitutional president when all he does is shit on it? All he does is defy it. But in everybody's mind, he's the American flag by God, and that all that they put in his ear for that little ritual. Give me a friggin' break.
If it's in direct opposition of what they were standing on just a year ago.
An 79 or 80-year-old man at the time goes, and everybody's like, let's stamp a coin so Trump has something else to sell.
Again, it's so fascinating because the very same people that
Trump phones, Trump Bible, meme coins. Where does the grifting end?
2024, we're saying Kamala Harris, if she gets in, she's going to be doing this, and this.
Doesn't matter who
does. The very
does.
same people that now Trump got in the office and he's doing everything that they said Kamala Harris was going to do.
Yeah, I remember Kamala's husband was would benefit greatly from what they did to North Carolina because they wanted the damn lithium that was under the ground. Remember that?
They're now in support of it simply because it's Trump and not Kamala. That's why it was always Trump. That's why it was 2016 Trump and not, he's going to be able to pull off COVID a lot better than people who would push back on the witch. They know that. It was always a display. It was always theater because he was the pick. He's been groomed since the 80s.
He's been groomed since Roy Cohn put something in his butthole.
And those people who were opposed to
I think Roy likes it in the receiving end. So maybe Trump put it in his butthole.
These things now in favor of it. Psychological warfare 101. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I could talk for hours on the psychological stuff when it comes to this. I'm not going to. Not tonight, but there's just so much to it. There's honestly so much to it. But the thing is, again, another aspect of the psychological warfare is they've trained people both on the left and the right, both. For anybody who has looked into this and sounds the alarm of this psychological warfare, both the left and the right will instantly attack that person for exposing it. They'll say that you're on the other side. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm. I just said that. I just mentioned that when I said, killing kids is bad. Oh, you're one of those pro-Palestinian people? And I think to myself, well, I had a half Romanian, half Palestinian, whatever that means, employee. And she was one of the best employees. They're still friends to this day. And she's like, I think she works civilian CIA right now. She does all kinds of cool things. She's like a musician, like a recording artist. She does all kinds of cool stuff.
Boggling. Every week, I get called both a MAGA and a communist. Every week.
Mm-hmm.
Comments and emails. Just the other day, somebody said, this is a communist propaganda channel.
And we need to do is like, no, I am a National Socialist, and I have discernment and comprehension skills. National Socialist. I don't mean like people who want to make a world good for everybody, but be the leaders because we're bred for it, right? Like that. Like that's the whole thing. Who created all the civilizations up to this point? Well, maybe those should be the people in charge of things. Maybe we don't need a bunch of different ethnicities from different countries representing the people when the people, at least in this country, aren't representative of them. So what the fuck? Put the best people in there, not just any people. Oh, we need representation. You'll get it with the proper Gothic araya in the place, in the ethnic European, because they will treat everybody the way it should be done. No favoritism. No, we can't have that. Like, see, that's the point right there. There is no friggin' equality. It's favoritism. Yeah, that's what they want. They want preferential treatment. It's not about equality, because life right now equally sucks for everybody, unless you're them, and then they get to take everything that you have, because corrupt little weasels, corrupt little child harmer vampires have created a system where it destroys the people who are productive to give to the people who will never be productive.
How can I be both, people? How can I be both? Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
All right, what time we got? I was gonna do the Ren and Stimpy one tonight, but fuck no, it's late. Did I pull it back up here? Where'd it go? Oh, that's mine. Is that no? No. What about the Ren and Stimpy one? Did I not put it up here? There it is. That one's 36 minutes low, and I don't really like this guy, but it's whatever. Edward and Saxon Ranger. Let's see what we got here. Hi. If they want to look like a victim, helpless and abandoned and on the verge of death, the GLPs are effective. Yep, we went to that one for Mickey Light for the shroom cakes. And then Saxon Ranger said, oh. Edward Snowman said, I bought you coffee. Thank you very much, sir. And then Saxon Ranger said, most people are probably sleeping since it's Monday night, I guess. Yeah, there's 30 people on Rumble right now. 2 people? Oh, we got somebody on Twitch? What the hell? That's cool. All right. Edward Snowman says, they're going to have to sue Greg for a working pair of testicles. Exactly. Dude, there's so many things wrong with that. For Rula Max, I really hope people take a look here. I'm just going to do it since there's people watching right now. Go here. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. This is the new one for Rula Max Serm. Dolph Lundgren's Masters of the Universe changed. What? What the fuck is that? That's some gay shit. All right, anyway, you guys should all be following here. If you're not, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. But this one was the first one that I dropped, and 580 views 9 days ago. This is about you want to start here and see how they're not even selling you the right thing. They're calling it the silphium of the Greeks and the Romans, and it's not. The one that they think that is possibly the same plant grows in Turkey, where our ancestors were, where Greeks and Romans all also had occupied that territory in the past, and it's called Ferula Judiana, not Ferula Hermonis. Hermonis comes from Mount Hermon. Oh, Golan Heights. Oh no, I'm sorry. They're called Trump Heights now in freaking Israel. Gee, that's a little weird. That's something that can sterilize you, something that can force you on TRT for the rest of your life, something that can actually cause cell death in your testes, permanent damage, and basically chemically castrate you when they want to do a reset and they don't want people to populate. Isn't that kind of odd that would be coming from that territory in the world? He acts like it's a big secret where it comes from. I was able to look it up like this, snap of fingers. He's like, maybe someday I'll tell you where we source it from. There's only one place it can be sourced from, Greg. It's a Levantine herb between Syria, Lebanon, and Mount Hermon, which would be into the Golan Heights, into Israel. Which one do you think it is? Gee, I wonder. So that's the thing. And then this one is how he's boasting about cholesterol and how he's talking about how long you should take this horrible thing that you're not supposed to take for more than a day, because it is really just for one shot deal. Otherwise, it burns out receptors and all kinds of other stuff. Like I talked about cell death and potentially having, oh yeah, your hair falls out too. And there's a huge rubber band snapback, even in very short-term usage. And then what he wants to stack it with is going to cause thyroid, endocrine, adrenal, You name it, liver damage all across the board, brain, because that's the endocrine system and all that. So you got all kinds of issues going on if you take the shit for even a month cycle. Potentially. I'll just use the word potentially for now. Get over here, check out this channel, subscribe to it, watch those videos, share them. These two right here. I'm working on the third and final one, because I'm tired of the subject already, but these are just little snippets. I thought they were going to go into the shorts, but I guess they automatically just fall into here because they're not 16 by or 9 by 16s. Oh well, I didn't know that, because these are all my shorts right here. Don't eat my shorts. I need them. Got wood? Electricity ended wood ash. That was the clip for that one. But that's the one that got all of 34 views, right? Because I said got wood on it. It's like, yeah, play to the audience, I guess. Weirdos and dipshits. And I think I made playlists for most of this stuff. Yeah. Fit Wit news, reaction videos and analysis. I think that should also be over there. But whatever. And there you go. But there you go. You should check out these videos. You should definitely get an idea. You're gonna have your mind blown to believe to think that somebody is bringing this to market and they're gonna release this to the public. It's what it's gonna do to people is ridiculous. And when their hair falls out months later, they're not even gonna associate it with the product that they took. So he might be covered there, but not with the I don't know. People can't have kids now. Were they planning on that being a side effect, or having to be on TRT or HRT, or do at least a post-cycle hormone therapy over something that they probably would think would be unnecessary, given that it's a plant? But no, not here. Hey, if he heeds the warning, he saves himself all the money that he's made. If he doesn't, then he's gonna be panhandling. Probably. I don't know. Maybe not. Those vids are great, man. I just started watching them last night. Thank you, Saxon Ranger. Appreciate that. Good editing, etc. It was weird to see your content in a different style like that, but it's great. Thank you. Thank you. It's my passion. Like, I like making videos like that. It just takes a long time, and it has to have some sort of like return on it. Otherwise, it's just too much time. Hope you'll get more views before we have a bunch of self-castrations going around. Right. Cops stalk women. This is Edward Snowman now. Cops stalk women like men kill black men. Edward Snowman says, for people of demiurgic ancestry, I don't know if they would even see any problem with being watched over and protected by a techno-feudalist lord. No, and they would also be the ones that, the scrutiny wouldn't be going on them. They are the part of the beast. And then Edward Snowman says, give them a taste of their own medicine. Throw them in the grape cage. Meet your cellmate, Dr. Reva Manlufa King Kang Jr. And then it says, like the NPD, absence masquerading as presence. That was a good statement too. Yeah, with firm belief in their own childlike make-believe world, having renounced reality, even knowing there's no going back. Rudy Giuliani. Yes, exactly, Saxon. Is that Rudy? Ferula Giuliana. Rudy Giuliani. That was a fun one. Anyway, I want to get into sociopathy, sociopaths, and all of the psychopath. We'll see if they hit the mark or if they fuck it up. But I mean, it's interesting because I don't even understand how they can make videos about this without somebody claiming that it's anti-Semitic. Because if they actually hit it right and they know what the hell they're talking about, somebody's gonna be like, "You just described a J. That's anti-Semitic. That's anti-semicolon." Because that's what they are. Well, there's a lot of people walking around like that, though. It's not just them. It's the whole cult as a whole. The people in the power that facilitate and help this shitbag system along. or the mass of the following of it, a lot of them are not. They're not really people, are they? And they're. When I think of sociopath, I think of somebody who delights in messing with people for their own pure enjoyment. Whereas I see a psychopath as being able to do things that other people won't. But you need a certain level of psychopathy in people to be good leaders too, or to be good warriors, and not because they have to be violent. Most people who are, maybe not psychop. Yeah, no, I think that word gets a bad reputation. But yeah, but then there's other traits like the narcissist, the bipolar, if that's a real thing. But there's people that are cracked, and they've decided that they're going to let their trauma identify them and be their lives rather than get over it. Because everybody goes through lots of things in life, right? Not everybody turns out an asshole, a murderer, a manipulator, indifferent to people. So there's something else going on there. It's part of a choice, but even I couldn't even make that choice. I couldn't make that choice because I couldn't treat people like that. So there's something going on there, Like they were already broken. They were of something else entirely, maybe. But anyhow, let's go take a look at this. Scroll down, my friends. You see right here, it says YouTube, and that's the Wisdom Fitness. That's the Rumble version. There's the Buy Me Coffee link, but keep scrolling. It's in there twice because I have the Twitter and the Telegram for the Fit Wit too. The SemperFryLLC.com hot sauce site. Paratus is back in action for 15% off. And for those of people that don't know about that coupon code, they're only going to be able to use the Food Star for 6%. So you guys are in the in crowd. Dr. Peter Glidden, you can use Fitwit or Ballbusters for 25% off his membership. Holy shit. If you watch the second video that I did, the long format one that you'll see on the Fitwit channel, there's Dr. Glidden clips in there, and they're friggin' powerful, awesome. And everybody needs to know that so they can get their heads on straight. And then the code BB5 at Azure Well for the 90 essential nutrients, which are actually listed here in case you forget. Whole Food Multivitamin, Alaskan cod liver oil, Fulvic-Humic energy blend, IP6 Supreme with inositol. And I also recommend the Core Copper. Code BB5. And if anybody wants to test the Give, Send, Go link, do that, because I think something's going on with Give, Send, Go. I think it's falling apart. I got prompts in there that I shouldn't have, and I don't know what the hell it's from or why. So I haven't seen any activity on it, so I don't know if there's something going on with it or not. If somebody wants to test it for $5 or $1. See what happens. All right, peace out. I'll let you know if it didn't work. Bye. Rudy Giuliani.